Hello and welcome. Apologies for the delay. I know I said 1 and it is now almost 1:15. It's been a while since I opened the stream, so I had to reconfigure things and update things, and that took longer than I expected. But that is quite all right because we are up and running. Let's see. All right, let me test a few things. Hmm. Okay, let me move this so it's not as close. Um, Hello and welcome to the Just Brewing live stream. I am waiting for um, my brew kettle here, my electric kettle to get to temp. I've got my strike water in it, my initial brew water essentially. Let me move this so it's a little bit more visible. I realize I'm not in my brewery has moved around recently. Oh, that's something. No, okay. Okay. That's a little bit better. So I have a new brew kettle. Not everyone has seen this yet. The videos that I've recorded have yet to be edited or uploaded. So you may not have seen this, maybe even seen me use this yet. But as a Brewer's Edge mash and boil all-in-one electric kettle. This is replacing my 3-vessel system that I would usually use a mash tun, a hot liquor tank, and of course a regular boil kettle, most of which you see behind me. This is everything's going to be done in here. It's got a grain basket that's going to for a brew in a bag method. So I'm not going to be using the mash tun. That grain basket is going to hold the grains. So I will be able to use that to mash, and then when the mash is done, I just pull the grain basket out. It's really nice, very very simple, and I don't have to clean a bunch of well, I still clean quite a bit, but I don't have to clean 3 vessels. The mash tun that you see there behind me, that big brew kettle there. Yeah, I should probably look behind me if I'm going to do that. Let's check a few things here. Quite a bit. But I don't. Oops. Okay. Alrighty. So that is up. Let's see. That is me. Apologies for the background noise. As you can tell, I'm in the garage. It's super nice out. Here in Austin, most of Texas actually was frozen over. So this has actually been the first nice day since then. There was still quite a bit of ice out, not so much snow, but just residual ice that hadn't melted yet. And that's all gone now. So this is probably the first day back to what we can call normal. So this just got to temp. I do have quite a bit of water in here, way more than what's needed. But that's because that's for a few reasons. But I need to make sanitizer, and I needed more sanitizer for that. Let me, since the stream went down for a bit, let me post that. It is now live again. So what I need to do is I need to get some sanitizer and get it in one of my buckets. I actually ran out of sanitizer yesterday. Where is it? Oh, that's right. I've got to have a basket for cleaning things. Stream. Awesome. So today we're going to be brewing a strawberry kiwi blonde. So what we're doing today is just going to be the brew part, mostly the blonde part. The strawberry kiwi is going to come from from puree. You can make that with fresh, in this case, strawberries or kiwis. I did that with my peach IPA once, and a raspberry sour. I made some purees for that. This is. I do have extract, I do have strawberry extract, but I want to see, I want to compare the difference between the taste of the extract versus the puree. I think the puree is going to give a stronger flavor, while the extract may last longer coming out of the extract. I need to read a tablespoon, because I need 1 tablespoon of sanitizer for I need 1 tablespoon of sanitizer here per 1 gallon of water, so that I can get that part done. I'm going to need the sanitizer for later, so I definitely want to make sure that I have it. So let me go grab that real quick. Let's see what all this is looking like. Hello and welcome for those that are joining now. Let's see. Okay, gotcha. Awesome. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so I've got the tablespoon. I should be able to do that. Let me see. Okay, so that's showing live now. Copy link. All right. All right, appreciate your patience. So I'm just going to take 1 tablespoon here. This is actually half, so I'm going to do it twice. There are a lot of popular sanitizers out there. This is just the one that I like to use. It is 1 step. The other popular one is Star San, super popular. This one in particular is really easy to store. The other is, Star San is pretty expensive, when all things considered, and I don't want to spend my money on the sanitizer stuff, especially unless this works for what I need, and it's way more affordable than Star San. But I'm going to pull this kettle forward a little bit. I just need to pull some water out of it. Okay, we done that. Let's try that again. For those that are joining, thanks for stopping by. As I put it in the title, I am brewing a strawberry kiwi blonde ale. It's only going to take. It's likely going to still be a full-on brew day, but it should take 4 or 5 hours. The stream itself may last 3 or 4. I might not keep the stream on while I am chilling the wort and pitching it. But let's see, is that a gallon or a half gallon? Wow, that's only a half gallon. Right now I'm making sanitizer. I ran out yesterday, so I'm just making some more. Any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I do think I can see them. Let me check and make sure my Twitch stream is up, because I don't know that it is. Let's see. Hopefully I'm not too close to the camera. Wow, why can I? Okay. So the biggest thing for today is just going to be the mash and the boil. Everything else is going to be, chilling, pitching the yeast. I am going to be using some pretty interesting yeast for this. I'm really kind of using an IPA yeast. It's called Kveik yeast. It's Norwegian farmhouse yeast, and these particular strains produce citrusy flavors and can ferment at temperatures well over 90 degrees. I'm not going to be doing that. It's just going to be around 70, 75. But it should still rip through fermentation. I am expecting it to finish this blonde in about a week. I'm hoping that it should do it. I'm just expecting it to do a few other things as well. Let me check my let's see. I'm trying to get my Twitch stream going as well. Apologies. Let me get my Twitch stream. Oh, there it is. Okay, so that seems to be working. Hey, what's up, James? Zach, good to see you guys. Thanks for stopping in. As I mentioned, we're doing a blonde, strawberry kiwi blonde. Wow, that is it keeps tripping me up. I've got the recipe in a bag over there. I'm not sure if you're able to see it yet. Let me go back to the stream so I can see. Okay. So I've got it in the bag right over there. We are featuring our Brewer's Edge mash and boil all-in-one electric kettle. I did buy this on Facebook. This was not provided to me by Brewer's Edge. Even though if you happen to be watching this, justbrewing@gmail.com. I really like this. It's been very helpful in getting things done efficiently. In that I don't have to go from vessel to vessel this time. I make fewer messes. I still make messes, a lot of messes, just fewer messes, which is great. It being one vessel is pretty nice because I don't have to worry about cleaning the giant 16-gallon mash tun here, or this 15-gallon kettle, or the 8-gallon kettle I have right there. Just this one, as well as the grain basket, which is next to it, I think. I guess you can't really see it right now. But I've got my sanitizer ready. I do need to get my water is at temp. So now we are I'm going to take the recipe, put it in a bucket here. Hey, Zach. Wow, I got two Zachs watching right now. Interesting. Thanks, Zach Haney. I see that you stopped in. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're brewing a nice blonde today. Can't go wrong with that. I figured a beer like this it's not winter necessarily, but it's still a bit chilly out some days. It's still nice and sunny. I figured this would be a really good beer to complement that. Also, my fiance said she wanted a strawberry kiwi blonde, so here we are. This will be my fourth beer on this all-in-one electric kettle. The first beer was what was gonna be an Imperial Irish Red Ale, but I messed up somewhere along the way, a couple times actually, and it ended up being just a 6% Irish Red instead of the 8% Imperial Irish Red I was expecting. Learned a little bit about fermentation. I'm sorry. I learned a little bit about mash temperatures that day. My mash temperature was just too high, and the sugars that were produced from that are less fermentable. So the yeast was not able to eat that sugar away, which resulted in a fuller-bodied beer, less strong. Not necessarily a bad thing. If this were a stout, for instance, that would be kind of ideal. You want a richer, thicker, sweeter body usually. On a red ale, less that. You still want a bit of a fuller-bodied sweetness to it, but some red ales are often a little spicy. There's usually some type of spice to it. There wasn't much of that there. It was nice, malty, full body. It still tasted great, It just was not the beer that I was expecting. I'm still dialing it in, but I think I'm getting it down. So I'm going to set my sanitizer off to the side here. I'm now going to get the recipe in a bucket, pour the bucket into the grain basket. I can use this. Let's see, where's my rag? As you can tell, I'm very organized. I'm not all that organized. I've only recently got some of this stuff here. Hello, B, can you get out of here? All right. So the recipe that we're following is from SoCo Homebrew, as are most, if not all of my recipes. We've got 8.5 pounds of 2-row malt. It's a very base, very popular, very easy to use malt. It's probably in, I would say, 40% of my beers. 40% of my beers have 2-row in it somewhere. It's a base malt for other most light ales actually, now that I'm thinking about it. A lot of the IPAs that I brew use it as a base malt. So yeah, 2-row, 12 ounces of flaked wheat, which should give us a nice, I won't say haziness, but yeah, I'll say haziness. It should leave some residual protein, which should cloudy up the beer. And 8 ounces of Crystal 10L. So that's going to be lighter, very, very light malt. That's where I'm sure some of the color is going to come from. Most of it's going to be from the 2-row. But that Crystal 10L is going to offer just a little bit maybe of a closer to a straw color. I'm not sure what the actual end color is going to be. If I make this puree, strawberry is, kind of red pinkish. Kiwi is going to be green. I don't know if it's going to change the color of the beer. I guess we'll see. I may put some clips from this live stream, make a video from it, and then upload that video with the tasting and everything. That way, those that got to watch me brew it can get that the validation of having seen the final product. You guys are brewing with me, as far as I'm concerned. Let me see. Looks like okay. All right, so let me check one other thing before I get that going. All right, both streams are up and running. Awesome. Wow, I'm not going to say anything because things are going kind of smooth right now. All right, time to get the recipe into the bucket. I'm going to apologize for all the crinkles and all that stuff because this is just plastic taped together, essentially. I put it into the bucket to make it easier to pour into the grain basket. It's a little hard to hold the plastic as all the grains and stuff are shifting out of the basket. So it's a little tough. So I just like to put it in the bucket because the bucket's not going to cave in on me. I was trying, what took so long to get the stream going, I was trying to use my GoPro as a webcam, which I found that you can do. I downloaded all the stuff to make it happen, it just wasn't working. So I stopped doing that, and I'm using my typical webcam that I actually use for work. Let me start moving things out of the way. All right, so I've got my recipe. That's what it looks like. I guess it's really hard to see. Never mind. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. Let me see. I can do one of these for you, though. Yeah, how about that? There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna get my grain basket in. Right now we've got about 6.5 gallons of water. For a beer like this, you would usually only want to put in about 4 gallons as your initial strike water. The strike water is just that. It's just your initial water that you're using for your mash. Usually there's a few ratios out there. One of the more popular ones. One of the more popular ratios is somewhere between 1.5 quarts of water per pound of grain. This has 9 3/4 pounds of grain, so usually you'd be looking at about 4 gallons. For this, I do, since that is a one vessel system, I don't sparge. Sparging is usually just trickling off water on the grains to get off any extra sugar that may be on the grain. I'm not sparging, so I am doing what's called a full volume mash of just getting all the water in it initially, and then letting the grain basket drain on its own. You'll see exactly what I mean here shortly. Let me get these grains in. Let's get the grain basket in. So this is what the grain basket looks like. It's nothing crazy. It's about just the size of the kettle itself with a mesh bottom. This is how, obviously, the liquid is able to go out and the grains stay in. Just like that. So now I'm going to take my bucket of grains and we are now mashing in. I'm going to set this. This is actually higher than what I need it to be. I did set the temp a little higher because I figured I was going to talk and it was going to start to fall. I want this to be around 154. I think I'm going to go 154 mash temperature. Actually, I should probably go even lighter. I'm going to go 150, I think. I think I'm going to go for 150. Let's see what that's going to do. So there's a few buttons on the front. Let me just take this. This is for the chat bubble, but that does not seem to be working right now. I'm just going to do one of those. Wow, stream magic. Okay. All right, awesome. So there are a few buttons on the front. The right side has an on-off and a set button. I'm going to set it to 152. I'm going to go 150. And hit set again. There's a timer function that will allow you to essentially get the electric element started ahead of time, which up to 24 hours, so it can be heated at the time that you want it to be. This is just using a 120 watt regular old outlet. There are 220 volt, 240 I think is the other one. That can get a 5 gallon batch or an 8 gallon batch up to a boil in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This kind of takes like an hour and some change to get to a boil. Even getting to 160, it probably took an hour and a half. It is a lot of water, and it's just pulling a little bit of power. This one in particular, here, I'm going to turn it off and drain some water so that we can loosen that in. But it can take a while, which is why I tried to get the stream going a little bit early, because it does sometimes take a while. I guess now that I think about it, I'm going to need that water, so I probably shouldn't do that. Once I put the grains in, it will bring the temperature down, so I'm going to rely on that to get me to the 150. So turn it on, temperature to 150, set. So it's at 156 now. By the time I get the grains in, get them stirred, by the time the mash actually starts, it should bring that temp down. It should hover around that 150. All right, so I am, where's my mash paddle? And we are mashing in. I'm gonna do that in parts. Get the grains in, stir. I'm gonna do it again. I'm preventing any dough balls right now. Any clumps of grain. Those clumps can essentially they won't mash properly because the consistency will be a little different. So you may not get the numbers you're looking for as far as gravity and sugar, stuff like that. So you want to make sure those are broken up. We're just going to go on like that. I want to say the grain basket can hold up to 17 pounds of grains. So your average grain bill is going to work in this. Most beers have a grain bill about 9 to 15 pounds, depending on the strength and the style. For IPAs, you're usually looking around 13, 14 pounds. Imperial IPAs may be pushing 16, 17. The Imperial Stout that I recently brewed, video coming soon. The Imperial Stout that I brewed was 18 pounds, and that was probably the largest beer I've done. There's just a stray dog. I won't say stray, but I don't see a collar on it, and that's the one that's barking at people. If it comes over here, I'll help, but it is just running away. I don't know if you can hear him, but our dachshund Ravioli is at the door just going crazy because he wants to be a brew dog. He wants to help. And usually that would be fine, but he likes to bark at other dogs as they walk across the street. And it's not cool for a stream. All right, so what time is it right now? We are mashing in at 140. Perfect. You definitely heard that. If there was an easy way, I would bring the camera over, which is why I wanted to use the GoPro, because I've got a 10-foot cable on that and could just bring that right over here. But I cannot bring the computer all the way over here. I guess I could. I guess it comes down to me not wanting to. So this is looking good. Temp 152. It's gonna fall, so I'm cool with 152. If it should probably get to, I imagine, 149 or 148 before it heats back up again. Hopefully that works out just fine. All right. So that's looking good. It smells great. All right, we are mashing in at 140. I'm going to jot this down. Those that know me best know I don't generally take notes. In fact, I'm known for the opposite. And recently, I've been making too many mistakes and haven't been able to correct them because I didn't write them down. I wouldn't know specifically what I did or what I did wrong. So it became really hard for me to try to keep up with that and get better if I didn't know what I was doing wrong, you know? So I'm back at it. I'm trying to write things out. I'm taking notes as to the temperature that I'm mashing in, the time. I did hear a great hack recently from Yeast and the Beast, a new favorite channel of mine, on gravity ratings, pre-boiled gravity ratings during mash in particular. So I'm trying to write things out so that I can dial in on my system. I should say systems, because I've got the 1 vessel and of course the 3 vessel. I think the family that dog's family is looking for them. This beer is a strawberry kiwi blonde. Again, the puree isn't going to come into effect today. I hope that's not confusing or too clickbaity. I should be able to get the puree tomorrow, or the fruit or puree. You can get like frozen puree. I think that's what we're probably going to do, just because it's easier. I don't have to freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw the fruit and then mash it up and all of that. I mean, I've done that. I don't want to do it again. So I'm probably just going to get a frozen puree and just toss it right in the fermenter. Those are usually pretty clean anyway. I shouldn't need to boil it or anything like that. I may need to spray it down with sanitizer first, but once I have that, I'll just pitch it right into the fermenter. I may do secondary with it, but the yeast that I'm using is going to be crazy, so it may rip through that sugar too. So I may just pitch it right during active fermentation. Okay, so today's date, 2/21/21. Okay, so we're mashing in at 150. Actually, I think it started at 152, right? Yeah, I think it started at 152 for an hour. It was about 6.5 gallons. So the 6.5 gallons of strike water, I usually see about 1.5 gallons. Wow, this is weird. I haven't said this out loud. I'm usually looking at 1.5 gallons grain absorption every hour for my mash. So I'm trying to calculate. So if you calculate 1.5 gallons is going to be absorbed by the grains, I'll have 1.5 gallons less than what's in it. So about 5 gallons. A 1 hour boil should put me at about 4, depending on how vigorous the boil is. It may boil out some. Looking at usually about 1 gallon during boil out, and that should put me at about 3 or 3.5 gallons in the fermenter, which is fine. I do buy 5 gallon recipes, but since I don't sparge, I need to calculate for that water ahead of time. Wow. Okay. Okay, so we're mashing in. It's going to sit there for about an hour. This is going to lose temperature, just the ambient temperature being so far away from it. It's going to fall, but I'm hoping that the heating element should kick in and keep it around the expected temperature. Okay, this is going to be the only way this is going to work. Ravi, say hi to the live stream. Okay, so back to the notes. So yeah, again, I've been trying to jot down things that I noticed, things that I'm doing or should do better. I've also been writing down, I won't call it best practices or anything like that, but I have been taking notes on things like water chemistry. I'm trying to see. I'm contemplating breaking down water chemistry to see if it's worth trying to alter the chemistry of the water. You can add in certain chemicals and salts that will change the profile of the beer. Some beers that you expect to be bitter, something like your standard West Coast IPA, you want to have a certain profile so that the bitterness is complemented. And then the same thing on the other end of the spectrum, things like stouts and dark, rich, sweet beers. You can alter the profile so that it's soft, and that way it's got that even fuller body to it. There's a lot that you can do with water chemistry, and it's a little daunting, but I have done a bit of research on it. The only way to for sure know what you need to do is either start from scratch with distilled water, or get the profile of the water that comes out of your tap, and that one is way harder, and I don't want to do that one. So if I'm gonna do it, I'm probably gonna start with just distilled water. It does seem wasteful, so if there's a way to go about making sure you can recycle the jugs or something like that, because I mean, I'm going through 10, 15, 20 gallons of water each brew day. And it can get very wasteful, which is why I started recycling that water. The water that I'm using now is captured water from another brew day, from the wort chiller and things like that. Just excess water. I mean, usually a lot of the times it just goes down the drain, which is incredibly wasteful. So I try to be considerate and hold on to that water. Also, it's just easier having jugs here, not having to worry about turning the hose on and getting that whole thing together. Let's see. So I wrote that down. I can set this down for now. The recipe that we're following, I mentioned it earlier, but I'll go over it one more time here. Again, it's from Soka Homebrew. It's just their strawberry ale. All they wanted, or what they usually do, is they just got a blend recipe. They give you a jar of strawberry flavoring. I'm going for the puree, so I'm going to have to add that in later. But 8.5 pounds of two-row, 12 ounces of flaked wheat, and 8 ounces of Crystal L. So all of that's going to give us probably a nice straw-colored maybe not straw colored. It was definitely going to be pale, probably close to a hazy IPA color, I imagine, just based on the light profile and the haziness that we'll get from the flaked oats or wheat, the flaked something, flaked wheat. People are walking by, and ravioli is nosy. So once this gets, once the mash is done, it is at 146. So our temp is dropping. I'm going to set the temperature a little higher so that it'll kick the heating element on. I'll only leave it on for maybe 5 minutes and then have it shut back off because the temperature may raise another degree or two, and then it should fall back down for the rest of the 50 minutes that we have on this mash. So I'm going to hit on set. Actually, yeah, okay. So it defaults to 160, I think, or 162. So once I hit set, I just hit set again, and it's kicking the heating element on. The hops that we're using, it's going to be 1 ounce of hops in total. I want to say it's 3/4 of an ounce at the top of the boil, and then about halfway through the boil, it's going to be the remaining 1/4 ounce. But it's Mount Hood hops. These are very bad for you, sir. This is going to be, I imagine, just a basic, easy, what I'll call a base hop for a beer like this. It's not going to have like an overwhelming amount of flavor. It's going to be more herbal and grassy than anything. And there are notes of citrus, so it's notes on the aroma. So I would expect this to be slightly fruity. And I bet with the yeast that I picked, it's also going to give it some citrus flavors and things like that. You'll be able to, depending on how well these complement the beer, the strawberry and blonde may overpower the citrus. But I am expecting this to be a very fruity, very, I'm not even going to say hoppy, but very light and fruity blonde. I really can't wait. I haven't done anything with strawberry or kiwi before. So this should be a lot of fun. So it's at 156 now. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off. If the temperature gets too high, it's gonna start the enzymes in the grains are gonna start to produce different types of sugar. I do want to make sure these sugars ferment out, so I don't want it to get too high. Nothing's wrong with like a sweeter, fuller bodied beer, but this is a blonde that's usually light and crisp. There shouldn't be very much residual sugar, hopefully, especially with the yeast that I picked. We'll see. I only used Kveik yeast one other time, and it did not go well. For those that were subscribed and have seen the video, I tried to do a 7-day grain to glass IPA with Kveik yeast, and it's definitely possible. I've seen it done. A channel that I've found recently is almost exclusively doing 10-day brews. They're awesome, and it's definitely possible. I've seen it. It just has yet to work for me. So I'm hoping that it will actually work and get me a 7 to 10 day turnaround on this. Beer usually takes 3 to 4 weeks. The raspberry sour that I did, I think took 6. I was and still am considering conditioning a beer to where it would take something like 6 months. But we'll see. There's quite a bit that I want to do. There's a lot of research into what beers are best conditioned like that. And I have not done that before. So let's see. Notes are very important. I should probably start doing, Zach, a good point on the notes on your phone. I haven't even thought about that. A lot of the times the notes that I'm taking, I just write down. I'm definitely more of a write it out kind of person. I tried typing notes when I was in college and that didn't work. When it comes to something like this, having the physical journal, I think, helps me write it out. Even despite having my phone on me, essentially within arm's reach 24/7. I don't think I've ever put notes in this phone. I did it every now and then on my old phone. I guess it kind of just happened because I had the pen. I was always, I had a Note 10 Plus So it felt like I was writing a lot at the time. So I was almost always taking notes there. Wow. Okay. I'm going to clean things up just a little bit, just because things started hitting the floor here. Rag, hops. Got my hop spider. 170. What are you talking about? I'm going to stir this. I can't let that get too hot. If it gets too hot, it may stop producing sugars. So I'm going to give this a good stir. Help lower the temp. For those watching, what other beers do you like to drink? I find that it's easiest to brew what you like to drink. And I really like IPAs, but I'm not the only person drinking here. So it's really hard to only brew IPAs. I've considered doing like small 1-gallon batches to find a recipe that I like, or even build one. What beers do you like to drink? Put them in the comments or in the chat. Let me see what you like to drink. Maybe that'll give me some inspiration on changing things up around here. Yesterday, I just brewed my first New England IPA, and that is looking very good. I cannot wait on that beer. I haven't brewed a hazy before, and I'm expecting it to turn out great. So far, the brew day, nothing really went wrong, which is great. Very rare. So I think, hopefully, this is going to go well. I'm using wow, a thing happened. Wow, the Beer Jesus is hosting my stream. Wow, that's never happened before. Cool, I appreciate that. I didn't even know that widget thing was set up. It's because it's been so long since I've used it. For those that are watching, hello, what's up? My name is Justin. I'm a home brewer in Austin, Texas. And yeah, this is just what I do. I have been home brewing since not this past birthday, but a year before that, so about almost a year and a half now. It's been a lot of fun. It's kept me busy during 2021 and now 2020 and 2021. It's definitely a good hobby to get into. It keeps me thinking. I cannot stop thinking about beer and recipes and things like that. I find that it's very, very, very intoxicating, one might say. Like I said, I just can't stop thinking about it. Let's see, sour stouts and ciders. Yeah, sour stouts and ciders. That's a solid lineup there. It's really hard to really hard to disagree with you on that one, Zach. A pear starfruit sour. Wow, that's incredible. Wow, my brain is just. Wow. Brewhova's Witnesses. Wow, I can get into that. That's awesome. That's really funny. I like that a lot. For sure, will do. I'll make sure to give you a follow there. Beer Jesus, if I said that right. Let's see. I'm going to do multi-stream. Does that work? Hey, that does work. Cool. I'm definitely going to follow Beer Jesus. Really appreciate that. I will... if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. I may have to check out your stream if you have one, because I'm still not good at the streaming part. I like brewing. The streaming part is what's throwing me off. I figured I've watched a lot of live streamers. Usually it's just video games and such, but this part's still new to me. I figured there was an audience out there for home brewers and just people that like watching things like this. I think there's something there, so I had to jump on it. Again, I'm already brewing, so I have yet to. I'm already brewing. There's nothing different. Let's see. Okay, Kiwi Blonde is a good idea. Nelson, yeah, that's actually a really good hop. I didn't think about that. The one that was given to me in the recipe was Mount Hood. I haven't used this hop before, but it looks like it's going to be a good one. I probably should have picked something that's going to complement the strawberry flavor opposed to a citrusy flavor. But I think it's going to be a good combination of citrus, kind of a tropical blonde. Let's see. Where was I just brewing? I am brewing, actually. This right now we're in the mash phase, which is essentially just letting the grains soak in some water. That water is going to the grains are gonna give off. Wow, I cannot speak now. Sorry, I'm like reading the I'm reading the chat. The enzymes in the grains, the starches in the grains are gonna start getting converted to sugar. That sugar is gonna get eaten up by the yeast to produce alcohol. So this is kind of the star of the show right now. You want to get your mash right because your mash is gonna give you what brewers make wort and yeast makes beer. So you want to give the yeast something nice and strong to latch onto. Otherwise, the yeast isn't going to be able to do its job, which means it's not going to be able to get you good beer. I'm really hoping that this is going to be a nice multi-platform, multi-profiled beer, but with the citrus as well as the strawberry. There's going to be a lot of citrus, a little bit of citrus from the hop. Some of that might get boiled out, so you may not taste much of the hop citrus. But the yeast that I'm using is gonna have strong notes of citrus flavor. It's gonna complement the strawberry pretty well. At the temperature that I'm fermenting at, I don't think it's gonna produce any crazy flavors, but should be pretty clean and crisp at the end of the day. Shrimp tacos, okay. I have been thinking about getting into pairing. I've done a little bit of research on pairing. But at the end of the day, I found out if it's just what you like. If you like this type of beer, you're more likely going to have it. Drink what you like. It's hard to know that something would taste better with something. I just grab it. If you want it, just grab it. Wow, ravioli is just sitting, enjoying the sun. All right. Take a look at the chat again, make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm just clicking all over my screen. For those that don't know, I'm on a laptop here with a webcam and a microphone. This is actually remoting into my desktop because for whatever reason, the streaming software does not like my laptop. It has never loaded on my laptop. I thought it was an issue with the operating system and all this other stuff, so I've reinstalled the operating system and all these things. To try to get the stream working there, but it just doesn't. It just does not work. So I'm using my laptop to control my desktop, which is actually running the stream. So I apologize if there are hiccups and things like that. They're definitely, this is a stretch. I'm surprised it's working in the first place. I'm moving to Munich to Brewmaster train. That's super cool. For work, at one point, I would have had the opportunity to go to Dublin to go to an office out there, and apparently they really know how to drink out there, and I think that's something that I really want to experience. For one, I haven't had any like an Oktoberfest, like actually going to Oktoberfest and stuff like that. It's just a culture that I never get to see. If I can hear ravioli. Alrighty, so the mash temp is still pretty high. I'm going to double check this with another thermometer because I'm not convinced that this is actually at 161. The heating element wasn't on for all that long. So I'm going to grab another thermometer here and do another, and just check the temp again. The one that's showing on the screen, there's a temperature probe like right here at the very bottom of the kettle, right above the heating element. So I always take the temperature I see here with a grain of salt. Let me grab another thermometer. Let's see what we're working with here. Okay. I want to check in a few different spots because it may, the temperature may be different in different spots of the mash. So we're creeping up to 150. Yeah, there's a B in here. Okay, so this is actually right at 150, which is really solid. Let's check another spot. Like 152. Okay, I mean, I think this the top of it should be fine. The temp down here is now showing 158, so I guess it's going to be balancing back out here. We'll see how that goes. Don't mess with that beet ravioli. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna, wow, there's 2 bees in here now. I guess they probably are picking up on the sugars and all the sweetness from this. Hopefully they don't become a problem. I'm not gonna kill the bees, do not worry. Save the bees. I'm definitely not gonna mess with them. It's ravioli that I'm worried about. So right now, while it's mashing, I should probably start getting ready for the boil. It's only been mashing for 20 minutes now. But that's not a huge deal. We will be able to. Can you just eat that bee? I don't think so. I think you missed. Once it gets to a boil, we're just going to be adding our hop spider, and then our portion of hops. We should be able to. It should go pretty well. I mean, something like this is just a matter of letting it get to a boil. Let's see. Okay, so I'm not gonna mess with this at all. The temp seems to be going just fine. I'm gonna take this out, put the lid back on. Now wouldn't be a bad time to get a gravity, a pre-boil gravity. I did get a refractometer for Christmas, so I've been able to check my gravity rather than filling up. You can't see it. I've got a flask here with a hydrometer. The hydrometer is essentially testing its the amount of sugar that's in it by its weight. The refractometer tests the amount of sugar by using light. I don't know the specific science behind it, but all I know is you put a sample of wort on the refractometer. You close it, and then you look at a light source. It will give you essentially a line that will tell you the gravity, or it'll tell you a gravity rating based on it's essentially its comparison to distilled water. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's just a person walking by, man. They're not messing with you. They're not messing with you, guy. Alright, so I'm going to leave it alone for a little bit. Here in a bit, I'm going to let it settle again because I did just stir it. Once it settles, I will then get its gravity rating, and then I'll start to take notes again as to where and track it as it goes. Apparently, you can cut your mash short, or rather, it's done mashing, either when you hit that hour mark or when you're pre-boil gravity. So that gravity rating, the sample I'm going to take, when it stabilizes, when it no longer is going up, it would. That's when you know it's done. Usually, again, an hour works, but something like this is helpful because you may be able to, on a beer like this, you may be able to have a 45-minute mash or 30-minute mash, which really just saves you time in the long run. It can really get doing things like this can turn what might be a 4-hour brew day into like a 7-8 hour brew day. That has definitely happened to me and continues to happen to me. I can't seem to get it right, at all. Hey, thanks for stopping in, Zach. Good to see you again, man. Hope you're well. Thanks for stopping by, if I didn't say that. So I'm going to set ravioli down, grab this gravity reading. If it's possible, I'll try to show what it looks like inside the refractometer. It may not be possible just based on there's no light source behind me to put up on the camera there. It may work, who knows? If it works, cool. Alrighty, so I'm going to go to the side here. I'm going to take a sample from next to the grain basket. Actually, I should probably do it from inside the grain basket because that's all mostly just water. And some of the actual wort is in there. That's what I want to get here. Is that going to work? This is very much what my brew day looks like. I just try something and then try something else. Okay, gravity. So I've got my sample here. This can just go right back on top. Actually, I'll put it back on top once I'm done. But this is just going to go right onto the plate of the refractometer. close it, and then you just look through it. So right now the gravity is pretty low. It is at about 1033. Yeah, 1033. Which isn't bad. I mean, we've only been mashing for 20-30 minutes now. So we probably do need to do the full 1 hour mash. It could be a little different because the concentration of sugar or just the wort. Thanks for the follow, Beer Jesus. Thank you so much for the follow, Beer Jesus. I should probably change that little zombie thing. This is the second time I've had my Twitch stream running, so I haven't messed with the Twitch side of the widgets, only the YouTube side. I do believe my YouTube one is like 2 glasses clinking, which I found. It was a gift that I found. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm expecting right around 5.5. I am using a 5-gallon batch, 5-gallon recipe, but I'm doing a full volume batch. So I'm expecting maybe 4 gallons into the fermenter, 3.5. I don't need a full 5-gallon here. I could have, tweaked the recipe so that I could have done a full volume 5-gallon batch, but that takes math, and I did it completely wrong last time and destroyed a Hefeweizen, and not the good way. It did not. It was just water, but it was just watery banana beer. It was gross. The second beer I've just poured down the drain. Actually, I think that was the first and only beer that I just dumped right out because it just was not going to get better. I didn't want to waste the CO2 on it. But you can just tweak the recipe a little bit, adding 10 to 15% more, and that you can do a full volume mash and not have to sparge. I didn't want to deal with all that, and again, I don't need 5 full gallons, so I just use the 5-gallon recipes that are already put together. I just click add to cart. I just use that, and it seems to work great. Ravioli. I'm just putting some sanitizer on my refractometer. I'm cleaning it off because I know I'm going to be using it again here. I'm going to be using it another like 15 minutes or so, but I don't want the rating to be wrong. So to clean that up, I should probably start getting another bucket ready because one of these buckets is going to be my fermenter. And one is completely just has a bunch of grains and stuff in it from when I put the recipe inside. So let me grab some water. I'm going to apologize for the noise. All right, let's see. What do we got going on in the chat? Hefeweizen without body is, yeah, exactly. It was awful. I tried to do a 3-gallon batch, but I wanted it to be a 3-gallon brew in a bag, no sparge, full volume batch, which was essentially similar to doing what I'm doing now. But I just got the math wrong. So I cut the recipe in half and then added 10% onto it. But I just messed it up. Some of them I did 10%, some I didn't do 10%. It was all over the phone. I didn't write anything down. And I was like, what's that? It's 5 pounds of this. Okay, so 2.5. So 3 pounds. Give me 3 pounds of that. And I just did, awful rough math on the entire thing. When I finally got to brew day, looked at the amounts that I bought and was like, wow, this is not correct. I don't know how well this is going to go. And I could have just waited. It was a Sunday, so the homebrew stores were closed. I could have just waited and gone to the homebrew store and bought the remaining grains that I needed. I said no and just brewed it anyway, and essentially wasted the $20 that I spent on the grain bill. So right now I'm cleaning a bucket. This is the one that I put the recipe in. So there's just a bunch of grain, pretty much, like dust, just grain dust. And I think one of these two is going to be my fermenter. I don't know which one yet. One of them. I'm gonna let this keep sitting. I may let the mash go a little bit longer, just because I want to make sure to make up for that temperature, how it got pretty high up, and I want to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I may need to let it sit a little bit longer just to make sure I get the sugar out of it. If the pre-boil gravity does not stabilize, I may let it go a little bit longer. We'll see. I don't want to let it go too long just for the sake of the brew and for the sake of the day. I mean, I got other things to do today. But I also don't necessarily need this to be a crazy strong beer. Beer Jesus said it earlier, 5.4 is like smack dab for a beer like this. You want it to be sessionable, so I would be okay with a little bit below that, maybe even like a 4.9. But I do not want this to exceed 6. If this gets over 6, I mean, it's still going to taste fine. It's just going to be depending on, it may no longer classify as something like your standard blonde. 6% is not a strong beer. It's not all that strong in the grand scheme of things. But a beer like this, you would expect right around that 5.5. So I'm going to try to keep it there. Temp is falling though, so we're down to 152 now after stirring and all that. I do have a lid off. I don't know how much that's going to matter, but the lid is off, so some of that heat is going to be escaping. I was going to continue. I was going to dump this bucket, but he laid down, so it looks like I'm here forever. Again, thanks for stopping in on the live stream. I haven't done a live stream in a while, mostly because I wanted to focus on getting my process and practices better before adding another layer to my brew day. I'm getting more familiar with things now. Now that it's been, I've brewed maybe 5 beers here in the new house since the beginning of the year. So I'm getting familiar with where things are here, how to use these things. And I do think there are parts of this that, live streaming wouldn't do too much. I mean, this should be a pretty easy beer. Let's see. Want to keep the lid off? Did my second all grain attempt, and sealing the mash was critical. The lid was off right now just to help me with the temperature control. First off, thanks for stopping in, Jeff. Appreciate the support. Right now the lid is off just to help with temp. It fell too low to like 146 earlier, so I turned the heating element on, and then it got to like 160 something. So I took the lid off. Right now I just left it off and just haven't put it back on. I would prefer it on because it's gonna prevent further loss of temperature. But my dog was in my lap, so you know how that goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back on. Wow. Okay, he's probably gonna lose his mind. Like two or three corgis are walking past right now. He doesn't like other short dogs. Okay, it's just 1 corgi and 2 beagles. Let's see. I'm just gonna put that there. Wow, I really need to catch up to the chat here. Ugh. Hi Mom. There it is. I will eventually need to upgrade my MLT to heatable. Okay, so I guess it all kind of depends. My usual mash tun is the cooler that you see behind me. This I've been using just for a few beers now, so maybe I've had it for a month. This has been fantastic, this all-in-one. I guess that kind of depends on your liquor tank and stuff like that. I use the big kettle behind me for my liquor tank. So when I do sparge, I just put, 4 gallons of hot water in it, 160, 170. And I hook it up to a copper pipe sparge arm that the guy that I bought it off of built. It is definitely DIY, but when it works really, really well. I've had a few successful sparges with it. I do get a stuck sparge every now and then just because it's a similar copper setup for the false bottom. Really, it's just 3 rows of copper. It's essentially just piping with slits cut into the bottom. I've been putting a grain bag around. I would put the false bottom in a grain bag, put that into the mash tun and use that to help with my mash. It does help because I'm able to sparge and not at all get any grain because it's got a grain bag on it. But every now and then it keeps what's the word I'm looking for? It just gets stuck. I don't really know where. The last time it fell off, so the entire spigot on the the mash tun got clogged, so I wasn't able to do anything. That was on my stout. I was expecting it to be a 10.5% imperial coffee stout. It turned out to be a regular old coffee stout because I messed up the sparge so bad. It was supposed to be 10, ended up with 6. That was a whole other thing. Doing that, I was trying to attempt brewing 2 beers with 1 set of grains, and it is possible after having done that. It is possible. I just need to execute it better. If I was more familiar with the system, it probably would have worked better. But for whatever reason, I don't know. It just didn't go all that great. Mostly because of the stuck sparge. I bet it would have worked had that not happened. I'm going to dump this bucket. I'm going to be right back. All right. So temp is falling. Not a big deal. We're at 150. Let me get the dog. So once this is, so we're looking at about 40 minutes now, about 20 minutes left in the mash. I should do another gravity reading here. Let's see. I had a stuck on my first all grain attempt. My bro suggested I tried to start pulling the work too fast and created a suction. Yeah, there is what's the word I'm looking for? There's a method to it. You can't just open a spigot and open the other spigot for your liquor tank, and expect it to work. You do need to find the range of how open one can be, because if the flow is incorrect, whether it's going out too fast or you're sparging too fast, or it's the hot water from your liquor tank is filling your mash tun too fast, you're going to throw off the grain bed, and it can cause a suction. In my case, it just, let me see, can I show you? All right, so this is half of the sparge arm, but let's pretend that it's the false bottom. So pretend there are slits here. If this was where it connects to the spigot on the mash tun, this part just came off. It usually just put it on there, and I've got some plumber's tape wrapped around it to make sure it can seal. And there's kind of a bumper on the back end that you can push down and against the cooler so that it kind of fits into place. It's pushing against itself essentially, and that's usually what keeps it in place. But I guess when I was stirring the grains on top of it, I may have pulled it off and not knowing, even though I've never done that before, not even on purpose. Well, I guess I take it off on purpose, but nothing like that. Anyway, it just did not work very well. It got immediately stuck, and I couldn't get anything out of the spigot no matter what I did. I could have just stuck my hand in the hot mash and tried to get it back on there, but I didn't want to do that. So I used this pitcher here and a strainer to scoop the grains and use the strainer and just poured it into a bucket and use the strainer to prevent this, the grains from getting in. I probably could have just lined a bucket with a grain bag and done it that way, but that's what my brain did. My brain said, hey, this will work, and technically it did, but boy, was it tedious, and it really, really threw off my efficiency. Again, I lost about 40 gravity points, which equates to about 4%. I could have had a 10.5% Imperial Coffee Stout. The beer that pumped out is still good. It's still really good. It's just not what I wanted it to be. Not that that doesn't make it bad necessarily, but so we're pushing about 45 minutes on our mash. I'm gonna grab another gravity reading here. I should try to get a gravity reading from, I should probably get a hydrometer gravity reading as well, just so that I have something to compare it to. Just to make sure that it's accurate, because in some spots I think it's more water than grain. We'll know for sure once we get the grain bag out. It's still at around that 1034. Actually, no, it went up to 1036. So there may be. We'll do one more in like 5 more minutes and see where it's at. We're getting to 1036, so that's not bad at all. We're probably pushing closer to the 6% range now, or maybe we'll see. We'll know once the volume is out, because right now it's really thrown off with all that just the sheer amount of grain in there. Okay, cleaning this up. Do you need to go inside now? Is that what that is? Okay, so let's see. So there's the recipe. So I've been doing all grain brewing for a few months now. Since, what was the first all grain that I did? I don't even remember. I think it was oh, you know what it was? The very first all grain I did was that IPA that I messed up really, really bad. That was my first all grain brew in a bag attempt, and I've been doing all grain since then. I don't think I've brought malt extract in since then. I have some for yeast starters and things like that, but I haven't actually used any. I've been enjoying all grain. I've been kegging too, so I've got a draft system here at the house, 4 taps, and so I've been cycling those. I've been trying to find a rhythm of having 4 beers on tap without, I don't know, it's a little tough. It's just myself and my fiance here. So us drinking, going through what might be 20 gallons of beer is a lot. So I've been trying to find a sweet spot for volume, which is why I'm doing, 5-gallon recipes at 4-gallon batches, just so we're not just sitting on beer, so that I'm able to continue brewing. I did start bottling and kegging for at least the coffee stout. I bottled half and then just get kegging half. That way, if we go places, or I brewed the beer with the intent to give it as a gift to my future sister and brother-in-law. They gave us the coffee beans as part of wedding favors at their wedding in December, and I kept those coffee beans and used them for the beer. And I told them that I'll give them the beer when it's done. So I've got that carbonating now, or it's bottle conditioning. That just did that 5 days ago, I think. When Austin first froze over was when I was able to keg it and bottle it. So that was good. So I have been doing that, my all grain and kegging and bottling, just to try to, mostly to stay busy. It's, stuff to do. Wow, people are out and about today. Now that the sun is shining, stores are open. There's more than just Burger King and stuff. Even McDonald's was closed the last few days, with yesterday probably being the exception. All right. So it's at 149. Temperature dropping. That's not a huge deal. I could start to raise the temperature now, but I don't know where the gravity is going to sit. So let me check my notes. I need to write that one out because I don't think I wrote out the pre-boil gravity of what was 1033 at first and then 1036. Let's do this. So let's see. 1036. 6:46. We're approaching an hour. It'll be an hour and 18 minutes. So in I guess another 3, I should do another gravity check. Should I stir it? I guess I could. I don't know if I want to mess around with it now. I should probably just leave it alone for now, and then stir it, start raising the temp, and then pick the grain bag up and let it drain. Because it's going to take, going from 150 to a boil is going to take like an hour. And of course the boil itself is going to take an hour. So that's going to be fun. Let's see. Yeah, equipment is probably the hardest part of home brewing. At first, you can really do it with the stuff you already have, with the exception of like buckets and sanitizer. For the most part, you can get your regular brew day done with a big kettle, a 5-gallon, 6-gallon kettle. I guess that's really about it. I mean, you would need, of course, the recipe and all that, but as you get into the hobby, you find reasons and excuses to get the bigger, better stuff. Moving from extract to all grain, you're going to need almost for sure going to need a mash tun, and a hot liquor tank, unless you go with something like this. I'd seen videos on these, but didn't, for whatever reason, consider getting one at the time. And then when I did, I was just like, why didn't I get one of these in the first place? I could have saved myself a couple $100. Because I'm pretty sure I bought the mash tun right there, the kettle that's right there, and the kettle, I'm really bad with mirrors, so I apologize. That's in that bin right there. All 3 of those probably cost a total of $200, if not $250 in total, which isn't a crazy amount of money in the grand scheme of things. That's probably the cost of, but that could have paid for one of these. Now I have this and the $250 and the equipment, so it takes up quite a bit of space. But if I had gotten the kettle, I probably could have stayed inside. Not that being outside is bad, especially considering how much stuff I have now. Like, I've got a lot. I've got a lot now. So it almost makes sense to try to keep it all outside in one spot. With the exception, being like the tablespoon like thing, and I could just get one of those. I guess I didn't think about that. So for the next beer that I'm going to do, I've got the New England IPA cooking right now. That one is fermenting as we speak. I should probably dry hop at the end of the day, if not sooner. But for my next beer, so I'll have the New England IPA, this strawberry kiwi blonde, a coffee stout, and a coffee stout on nitro. So I'm also working on a nitro setup. I mean, I have the setup. I just need the beer gas mix. But I am working on that. So we'll have 4 beers on tap. So I wouldn't necessarily need to brew again for a little bit. Well, that coffee stout's going to go soon. So I should probably start at least considering what I'm going to brew next. It sounds like if it's going to be a stout, I should probably maybe do like another porter. I could redo that hazelnut porter that I did and maybe do like a double hazelnut porter, where it's, even maybe like an imperial and it's still like even more of the hazelnut flavor. I could do that. The hazelnut porter is probably my most successful beer yet. I could do another sour, then I'll have 3 light beers on tap. And then the nitro, once that's gone, I can for sure get another stout going. Maybe I'll do like another porter or a brown ale. Let's see, it's February, March. What are some good February and March beers? I guess March beers. By the time it's drinkable, it would be March. So, what beers do you drink in March? I don't even know. March is spring. Maybe a brown ale wouldn't be too bad. Maybe like a sessionable. Maybe I could do like a lawnmower beer or a patio pounder. I think it's about time for that. No, I guess these kind of would be. Not at 5.5% or even close to 6 if that's what it's getting to. Wow, the ice cream truck is coming. That I should probably. Can I get copyright strike for that? No, probably not. But I'm gonna keep talking over it. That way, nothing gets picked. Doesn't pick up the song. There's almost no way that's copyright, right? Because I mean, this is the ice cream person doesn't. They don't own that song, right? I don't know. But I should probably continue talking. I don't know if that's a joke or not. I do not want to get in trouble for having copyright songs. Okay, Ravioli. Give me $1 and you can come out here. He did not give me $1. Okay, so I should do another gravity test. Set that there. Make sure this is cleaned off. Yeah, I think a lawnmower beer wouldn't be too bad, or I could try to do something like a sessionable brown, like spiced brown ale or something like that. Maybe attempt that Christmas beer again, the one with the ginger and the juniper and cinnamon. Maybe without the juniper and just be like a spiced brown ale. That sounds nice, something like spicy and sweet. 4% or something like that. So temp is now 146. I'm going to go ahead and start raising the temperature to the boil. It's going to take a while. So let me start that on up to 215. Boiling point usually is about 212. But for this to continue the boil and keep the burner on, I'm going to have to keep it like a few degrees above boiling. Oh man, I really don't think I'm. This is getting closer and closer. Okay, apologies for that. I'm going to test the gravity here. I'm just going to put this back on top and get a fresh sample. All right. Yeah, this color should be awesome. It's going to be a nice light pale color. Like a real soft golden, I'm expecting, maybe. No, probably paler than that. Wow, that's still creeping up. It is 1042, so this is going to be a stronger beer. I could just add a little bit of water to dilute it some more. Once I have an original gravity, I'll try that. Because this beer, with the boil and all that, it's probably going to continue to creep up just a little bit. I should check again because I already forgot what number that was. Okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should just let it keep riding out. I think I'm just gonna let it ride. We'll see. So yeah, 1040. 1040, that's a solid pre-boiled gravity. I'm gonna start it up again. I did turn it. I turned the burner on, or the electric element. I did turn it on. So it's at 170 now. I'm actually just gonna let it continue mashing because it's not done. And I do want to get as much sugar out of it as I can. If it turns out to be a slightly stronger beer, I'll just add water. Maybe like a quarter of a gallon, like maybe not even very much, but just enough to bring the ABV down to where I would like it to be. I do want the original gravity to be around, I should probably be looking for a specific number here. What does the recipe expect? 1050? 1048, yeah. So I'm expecting that, I would probably expect it to get to 1054, my original gravity, just because we're working with less water. As far as the full volume is concerned, we're going to be working with less water than the recipe calls for. So that may throw off the, what's the word that I'm looking for? Oh, that'll throw off the gravity expectations. There are tools and software out there that can help you manage that. Things like Brewer's Friend, Brewger. There's a lot of websites and tools out there. Brewfather's a really good one. There are really good tools out there. I don't personally use them because I'm just not good at using it and doing other things. I can follow the recipe, or I can follow that. I do from time to time input information into something like Brewger or Brewfather. You can really, it's just a matter of putting it in there so that I have like an expectation of gravity, right? So since I don't follow the recipe and the steps that my homebrew store gives me, because I'm doing things differently just about every single time, I look for consistency there. The recipe and instructions that they give are awesome, but they're very, very, very simple, very basic. And I'm past that. I do quite a bit now, and I'm familiar with mash temperatures to a degree, so I try to, pun intended, so I try to put that into account. I would prefer to follow some of the stuff that I read online and some of the things that I know now, opposed to, hold on. Can you even hear me right now? Okay, cool. I did not see the sound thing on. Since I'm doing things a little bit different, I try to do it by my rules, opposed to the homebrew stores, just because, again, the volume, things like that are always going to be different. But I at least know, so I can input that information. The steps that they give are very, very blanket. It's the same steps for every beer. With the exception being the ingredients, right? You're not putting the same hops in or the same yeast in, but it does have you mashing at the exact same temperature for all the beers with the same mash thickness, essentially. There's quite a bit, but this one in particular isn't terribly far off from the recipe, so I am good to kind of abide by that. 162. I guess if anything, I should probably. I don't know that it's going to fall back to 150 and stay there long enough for that gravity to get to where I want it to. So I should probably just get it to a boil. Yeah, I'm just going to get it to a boil and get that going, because that's going to take the longest. 200, 214, set. Now, so that heating element's going to kick back on. I'm going to take the grain basket out and just lift it. There are legs on the bottom of the grain basket, as well as pegs on the outside bottom of the grain basket. Those pegs you are going to use as a stand, because the top of the kettle here has essentially spots for you to put those pegs so that it can stand on its own. If I could show you, I would. If the GoPro webcam thing was working, it would have been fantastic, and I could have just grabbed it and moved it and showed you. Alas. But what I can do is I do still need to take this out. This is going to be a little heavy because it's just a basket full of wet, soaked grains. So that's going to get kind of heavy. Move things out of the way here. So the mesh basket on the mesh bottom on the grain basket, of course, all the liquid only has one place to go, so it's all just trickling over the grains again, and falling all the way into the boil kettle. I'm expecting hopefully about 4.5, 5 gallons of water in the kettle once this is done. It'll be a little bit different, but based on the volume and the gravity, we'll know if we need to add any water. I could give this a stir. I'm probably just going to let it continue draining for now, and then stir it later. But we're already at 150, 153. So that's going to, now that the grains are out, the temperature did drop. I'm going to let it continue draining just the way that it is. I should probably weigh out my hops. Yeah, I'm going to weigh out my hops here. What was that sound? I don't know what sound that just was. I'm going to weigh out my hops because I've only got the one package. I'm going to be putting in a 1/4 ounce and then the 3/4 ounce. Oh, the other way around. For the bittering, at the top of the boil, we're going to be adding 0.75 ounces of Mount Hood hops. On the aroma on the hops, at least on the package from Yakima, it says with a 5.7 alpha acid, hop pellets, the aroma should be citrus, grass, and herbal. So very earthy notes with a little bit of a citrus. Typically done, these hops are usually in lager, alt beer, bock, helles, and wheat. So very light, pale beers, pale ales to be specific. But I am going to throw up the intermission cart. I'm going to go weigh these out, and I'm going to be right back. So bear with me. I'm just going to throw up the intermission card, and I will see you soon. Alrighty, I'm back. Thank you for your patience. I went ahead and weighed out the hops and put them in little Tupperwares. Um, our first edition is that 0.75 ounces Mount Hood. And then as our last edition, 0.25 ounces in the same hop. I'm just going to set this here. This is still dripping, and we're looking at about 5 gallons of work so far, which is spot on. At the end of our boil, that should give us about 4, which means I should be able to put about 3.5, 4 into the fermenter. Solid. Let me check the gravity. If the gravity is between, I don't even know really, pre-boil gravity to boil gravity, or pre-boil gravity to original gravity. I don't know how much it's going to change. I've seen it change a little bit. I've seen it change a lot. So I guess it kind of depends on the style and a few other things. This one only changed 0.001. This one changed in 0.009. On my New England IPA that I did yesterday, went up 7 points. So I guess it kind of depends. Let me check where it is, and then we'll go from there. It has been creeping up. I think 1055 is probably a good, like a 1056 I think is a solid original gravity for this beer, based on my efficiency and all the variables here. Let's see what the pre-boil is. The pre-boil, with the last one having been 1044. This one should be 46. Oh, I didn't even write that one down. Man. I did grab a homebrew while I was out. Behind me is the coffee stout that I mentioned earlier. It's a really, really good coffee-based beer. I didn't want it to be a beer with coffee flavoring. A lot of the recipes that I found for the coffee stout were brew a stout and add some cold brew before you put it into the keg, and then taste it as you go, and then you know how much cold brew you want, you know how much coffee flavoring you want, and go from there. You can also get coffee concentrate, which is similar to the strawberry concentrate that I mentioned earlier, or the peach that I've used before on this channel. All of which are solid options, but I really wanted it to be a coffee beer, not a beer with coffee. So I took all those, what's the word I'm looking for? Coffee beans. Took all the coffee beans and put them in the grain bill. I just tossed them right into the mash, and it worked out great. There is a definite coffee body there, and I think it really changes the way the beer sits. Sorry, things are being weird over there. Let me make sure both streams are still looking good. Both seem to be doing okay. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to check the gravity again. I can set this over here. That can go in my chair. I did not grab chapstick like I meant to. Apologies. Live stream, right? This is just what it is. We're at 166 right now, and it's still creeping up. This is still dripping, which is awesome. I'm just going to let it sit. I may stir this up, kind of get whatever sugar is still on it. I think I'm going to stir it up a little bit, and then I'll get my gravity reading. what's really nice about refractometers, with the hydrometer, using essentially a weighted scale, it's kind of a weighted scale, but the temperature of the sample can throw off the gravity reading. So here, I can just pick this up instead of continuing to talk like crouched down there. Something about the gravity reading. Oh, the temperature of the sample can throw off the gravity reading just by a little bit, so you can either wait for it to stabilize, room temp, or you can put in the calculator, like some of the tools that are in the brew fodders, the brewers. You can just input that gravity, and it will. Awesome. I'm glad you're still playing Rock Band. I've also been playing it a lot recently too. The temperature can throw it off, but that's not the case with a refractometer. So I can just take the sample and get it immediately instead of having to put it in the fridge and come back to it, or just leave it out. All of which takes time. The refractometer, you just look. Here's my little thingy. I'm gonna grab it from the top. A lot of the others I've gotten from the bottom. I'm gonna get this from the top. I don't think it matters too much. Actually, I should probably get it from the bottom because it may be stirring itself. There may be a little bit of motion with all the with the trickling and the pouring and stuff. So it may be moving a little, thus mixing it in more. What I am going to do, I'm going to take quite a bit out and pour it back on top. This is going to be my sparge. I'm doing that a few times. I probably shouldn't use like a plastic pitcher for this just because of how hot the water is, the wort is. We're approaching 170, which isn't crazy hot. But I don't know what temperature this thing can take, so the cooler the better. Look at that color. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it just smells like grains. I don't want to drink it because it's super hot. I've got a very sensitive tongue to like temperature. I can't do things that are like crazy hot. I'll always let my coffee get to like warm before I start drinking it. I can't do like foods or drinks that are too hot. I just can't. So I'm just gonna wait. All right. So I'm gonna get one more sample. This is what I'm gonna use for my gravity. I'm gonna try to show the camera this time. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, I'll try to put it in a video someday. But hopefully this works. So that looks good. I'm going to turn around to see if there is enough light. Okay, it actually stabilized. So we're back at, it's right at 1044 again. Maybe 1044 and a half. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, it doesn't work like that. Sorry, y'all. I'll find a way to show you. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and put it on my Instagram, just_brewing. Apologies, considering that didn't work as well as I thought it was going to. I at least thought it was either going to show nothing or what you do see. It does look like a scale on the inside. On the left, it's the rating of Play-Doh's bricks, and on the right, it's showing you in our gravity scale, the 1.0, starting at 1.0, going all the way up to 1.130. So you can get it in bricks or the standard gravity. It all kind of depends on what you need, because this can be used for more than just beer. It was worth a try. Thank you. I'll try to show someday. It doesn't necessarily look cool or anything like that. It's just a scale. there is a light and a dark. The separation is where you're looking. So that separation is going to fall onto a line, and you just want to use your best judgment to see what bar that line falls on. Be that 1035, much like using a liquid one. Here, I should probably do that one too. I did mention I should, just so I can have multiple samples. But that one was at 1044, which is a really good start at pre-boil gravity. About 200 milliliters, 220. I'm just going to let this cool down. I'm going to set this over here. I can go ahead and put the hydrometer in it to get it spinning. This is like my third or fourth hydrometer because I keep dropping them. The hydrometers, I don't think I've got shown up close on camera, but this is how I go about getting my gravity. I either use the refractometer or this hydrometer. Again, this is like a weight, and where the surface falls, that tells you the gravity. And the gravity is really just a comparison of the sugar concentration in this liquid versus distilled water. Distilled water is 1.000. So if I put distilled water onto my refractometer, the entire thing is going to be covered in that dark portion of the screen. And because where the light and dark meet is where your gravity actually is. The light and dark would meet right at the bottom. So it's essentially at nothing. With this, 1.000 is here on the whole thing. So if it was a flask of distilled water, it would flatten out right at the 1. Of course, this is not distilled water. So it's just a comparison of the concentration of sugar compared to distilled water. I'm going to give it a twirl. I'm going to give it a strong one. Now it's not going to let it sit because it's going to, again, the temperature is going to throw it off. I could just look it up. I probably will. I need to get the temperature of the water first, but I have thermometers and stuff. I can do that. Let's see. So this is pretty much dripped out. I bet the gravity may be different now that I just did that, because I did kind of do a sparge. It may be different, so I should probably do another gravity sample. But for now, I'm going to take this grain bed. Where's my paddle? I'm going to stir this up to kind of make sure that there is indeed no liquid left. The grains, if you weren't here when I mentioned it earlier, did I just throw that everywhere? I do try to be as environmentally conscious as possible. I try to reuse everything. I can't reuse the grains, but one of my friends is essentially a farmer, sort of. He just texted me. He's got chickens, he's got a little bit of land, and he's essentially trying to become self-dependent. And chickens and other farm animals, he's only got the chickens right now. But chickens love this stuff. So I save it for them, and as long as it doesn't go bad, because it can't, I just hand them off to him next time I see him. He's part of my circle, so I see him pretty frequently, once every week or two. I've actually got dinner plans with him on Tuesday, so it's my boy Wyatt, for those that know me in real life. I just take and give these grains to my buddy Wyatt. He feeds them to his chickens. He can use it for his plants. It's part of compost and stuff. It still has nutrient to it, so it's still very worth holding on to. The bucket that I cleaned out earlier, I'm just going to set the grain basket in it or on it. It doesn't go all the way in just based on the width of those pegs, but it will be able to, I'll be able to, if there is any more liquid in there, it's going to continue dripping, so I'll just pour that in later. I don't want these grains to make it into the boil, so I'm going to try to clean this off and that water I captured earlier, I should probably put more in there. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dump that, put more in it, so that can be like a soaking thing. All right. So I'm gonna take the grain basket. Yeah, we're almost at 5.5 gallons of for the boil, which is fantastic. That is about spot on. I was hoping for 5.5, but where it's at, 5 and I don't know, whatever, between a quarter and a half. That should still give me a good over 4 gallons in the fermenter, which means I should be able to get about 4, which means I can bottle half and keg half, and it will be easy. It will be easy to do math on like how many carbonation tablets I may need or how much priming sugar I may need. Very helpful. So I'm just going to set this off to the side here. Temp 179. This gravity, there are bubbles, so that makes it a little hard to read. This is looking a little bit lower than what we were seeing. This looks to be at about 1030. Maybe 1025. It's a little, but again, the temperature could be throwing it off. I'm just going to wait. Once again, welcome to the live stream. I appreciate you stopping by, even if it was for just a few minutes, to see what I was up to. I'm going to fix this just a little bit. I appreciate you giving me the time. This is just something that I like to do and like to do for fun. It turns out other people like to do it for fun too, and other people don't mind watching me do it for fun. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you learned a thing or two. Everything that you're seeing has been purchased by myself, with some small exceptions being the the refractometer that was a gift, things like that. Everything was bought. Nothing was given to me by a major homebrew company, unfortunately. So hopefully the opinions that I have, it's clear that they're just my own. And everything that I've learned, I've just had to pick up along the way, one way or another. Kind of fell into a hole, and I had to dig myself out. So I had to learn some of this stuff. So hopefully it saves you a little bit of trouble too, if this is something that you do. Homebrewing has been fun. I've had a blast. I've learned quite a bit, like things that wouldn't really be necessary. But I mean, we'll be watching TV, and we were watching an Amazing Race recently, and they were in some monk chapel thing building. It was super cool. And one of them was like, "Hey, something about beer," and I was like, "That's right, because monks are some of the first beer brewers. That's just something that I know now because of my all the stuff that I've just picked up along the way." It's been it's been a fun journey. I've learned quite a bit, and it still continues too. This is looking kind of murky. It looks kind of cool. Let me see. I need to get more water in here. I should probably dump it first. Actually, I'll put a little bit of water in it and then dump it. Awesome. I'm going to put this in here now. I just didn't want to get the grains that were on it to be inside this. That's just another thing to have to worry about straining out later. I should clean this. All right, I'm going to dump this one right back. Okay, so when I'm brewing, I don't usually keep the mash paddle. I don't usually keep the paddle or the spoon in the kettle just because it gets hot. And this, I bet, could probably melt eventually. I don't want to find out, so I don't usually leave it in there. But I do like to have a bucket of water just to clean off whatever may be on it. I apologize for the noise. All right. Let me check the streams real quick to make sure nothing is broken. So that still looks good. And that one still looks good. Awesome. Those that are still with me, thanks again for watching. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves so far. I could probably try to get some music going. I found a playlist on Spotify. Actually, it's an entire art group, Stream Beats, by a very popular YouTube person. And it's all royalty free, meant to be played in the backgrounds of streams and YouTube videos. And I I'm not always listening to music, but there's something usually. And this background noise is killing me. So I'm gonna turn that up just a little bit. And not have to worry about playing copyright music. If the stream can't hear it, then I can make that happen. But I don't want it to be playing from my speakers into the mic and through the live stream. So, and I don't really have a way to do that, so I'm just going to turn this up a little bit. Hopefully this isn't a bad idea. Wow, I think this is a fantastic option. I don't know why I did this 2 hours ago. Okay. Things are moving smooth, man. Usually I'm cleaning up some horrible mess right now. Knock on wood. Okay. So we are getting close to 10. I am going to probably move the screen over here. I mean, I could. I'm sorry, I talk to myself way too much, especially when there's the camera and stuff right here. This is still dripping, slowly but surely. I can get my hop spider in. I don't know why it's called a hop spider. I think this is just a variation of mini hop spiders, but this just sits on the side of the kettle, on the inside rather. And you're able to throw your hops in. It can still work with all the stuff, but it also, what's the word that I'm looking for? Oh, it filters the hops. That way you don't have to, the hop debris isn't, the spent hops aren't all in the beer. It helps with clarity and things like that. I got the hop spider and my other 8-gallon kettle as part of a package deal from Facebook Marketplace from a person who had a tea business, small, made tea business, and they used homebrew supplies to make tea, which is genius because you can make 8 gallons of tea in that thing. My 20-gallon kettle, if you have a grain bag, like a fine enough grain bag, you could do the same thing, and you could make 20 gallons, 15 gallons of tea. Genius. Yeah, this gravity in here is way off. And I'm thinking it's because some of the sugars in here kind of coagulated. That's a weird word that I don't say often. It's kind of all grouped up, and it's throwing off the actual, I think it's throwing off the water a bit, or the wort a bit. See what I mean? I'm gonna close the garage a little bit. I'm gonna mute this first. Actually, I'm not gonna close the garage. I'm just gonna, yeah, you can't really see this right now. There's really no way for me to make it happen. But I can pour this into it. Okay. So once the once it gets to a boil, I'll be able to throw the hops in. I may set up my pump and circulate the beer for a whirlpool just to kind of keep. Maybe I'll do it towards the end. I really want to make sure, because I find that the hop spider, the temperature can sometimes be a little bit different inside the hop spider, just how fine it is. And once the hops, like, I won't say dissolve, but once they boil out, it kind of coats the side of the hop spider. And sometimes I feel like I may not be maximizing the hop flavor if it's doing that. So I want to try to keep the motion going through it, just to prevent that, so that the beer evenly gets that hop flavor. I may do that maybe towards the end, maybe for the last 15 minutes of the boil, and then also do that and that will help bring the temperature down. That's not a bad idea at all. I was able to do that yesterday. It worked out really, really well. I want to make sure this isn't touching the bottom. It's not necessarily a bad thing if it is, but the heating element may singe some of the hops that hit the bottom if they do. Every now and then I do stir inside the hop spider just to make sure that there is some motion in there, but I may not need to if I do this whirlpool thing, right? I'll figure that out later. It was a whole thing yesterday trying to do it, and it was a lot. I should probably grab another gravity reading, maybe once it gets to a boil. We're at 197, so we're about 20 degrees away from a boil. This is, again, I did say it was going to take about an hour to get there. So this beer, this coffee stout is now about almost a week old. Does that sound about right? I would say almost a week old, maybe 5 days. It still tastes good, still drinkable. You can tell it's a coffee stout. There is a little hint. You can taste the CO2, and I don't know why that is. I'm not sure if it's like a just one of the flavors in the beer. I won't say having gone bad, but one of the flavors maybe losing in the fight, so to speak. I don't know. It does have a little bit of like a gas burn, which makes it sound really, really bad, and I should probably find a better way to describe that. But it's still like relatively thick-bodied, but it's got a thinness to it when it's, I don't know. I should probably find out specifically what I'm talking about. For those that are joining us, welcome. Right now, we are, okay, let me start over. We finished our 1 hour mash on the strawberry kiwi blonde. The strawberry kiwi is going to get brought into play tomorrow, or maybe the day after. Really, it's just a matter of getting the puree and adding it to the fermenter. Right now, I've got the grain basket right over there, dripping into a bucket. That is going to probably give us just a few ounces of work from it, but hey, that's what we want. I'm going to pour it into the bucket to count. We're waiting for this to get to a boil right now. It's at about 200 degrees, so we're about 15 degrees away. Once it's there, we're going to be adding in our first round of hops the first round is going to be 0.75 ounces of Mount Hood. The aroma on that is going to be citrus, grassy, and herbal. It should provide a nice, I won't say smoky or spiciness, but it should add a nice earthiness to the beer. And then of course the flavor is going to come from the strawberry, the kiwi, and the Omega Kveik yeast that I'm going to be adding to it. So it's going to have a very tropical flavor is the idea. I'm hoping for a couple different profiles. The strawberry kiwi to be one like distinct, you taste that, and I'm hoping to get what's the word I'm looking for? Really just the yeast flavor, esters from the yeast. The temperatures that I'm fermenting this at, usually to maximize this yeast, you want to ferment it at around 90 or so degrees. In Austin, Texas, on February 21st, 2021, it is like 50 something degrees out here right now. It's super nice. We're recovering from an ice storm. So it's been one of the warmer days as of late. And this is the warmest it's going to be for now. It's going to continue getting a little bit warmer, but I don't have a way to get a room or a closet to 90 degrees, 80, 90 degrees. Not safely, at least. I could just light it on fire, but that's not a good idea. So what I have been doing, usually, right now I've got the New England IPA in our closet with the door closed, the light on. I've got it set right under the vent, and that closet is it's a walk-in closet, but it's essentially it's its own space. So it gets pretty warm in there from time to time, you know, if the temperature is right. So I've got it in there. It's probably a good two or 3 degrees above ambient temperature. I'm hoping that it's going to be around 78 while the rest of the closet's around 75. At that temperature, it should still produce some of the fruity esters, of some, you know, strong citrus flavors, but just not as much that you would get at 80 to 90 degrees. Upwards 100 degrees, apparently, you can do this yeast. I did try this last fall, and it did not go well. The beer at the very end turned out okay. It just turned out to be like a peach blonde is what I called it, based on how it met the beer judge certification program guidelines. It was supposed to be a peach IPA, an IPA, if you will, but based on its characteristics, the look, the smell, the taste, and the finishing product, it kind of classified more as a blonde, so that's what I called it. It did not go well, but I learned a lot doing it, and I'm trying it again. I am using a different type of Kveik yeast. The other one, I think I messed up because I didn't rehydrate it. I think you're supposed to put it in a few ounces of water, let it sit for a few, and then pitch it. I pitched it like it was a regular dry pack of yeast. Ever since then, I have stopped using dry yeast because these things should be idiot-proof. I should be able to open it and throw it in there. I mean, come on, you can't expect me to read the instructions. You really can't, especially at the end of a brew day. So what I have been doing, I've just been getting good yeast. I don't mind spending a little bit of extra. Like, yeast isn't expensive, but it's definitely not cheap. This pack of yeast cost $11, I think. And 11 isn't all that much, but I could still have spent $3 on a pack of dry yeast. Actually, I could have spent $0 because I have a spare pack. I chose not to use that yeast because it was a dry yeast, and I was like, I'd rather go get a liquid yeast. So I could have just used that yeast or captured some yeast from a previous brew day, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted this yeast. I really wanted to see what it can do. So I got it. Hopefully it goes well. We'll see. I mean, I've got high hopes. Ravioli wants to be outside again. We are almost at a boil. We're at 208. It really wants to boil. I can see it. I'm gonna try to find a way to move the stream over, maybe closer to the thing, so you can see me and this, and that's it. I think I'm gonna do that now before it's too late. I'm gonna pop up the intermission. I'm still gonna be here. I'm just gonna move this. Does this work? No, let me do this one. There we go. I'm gonna leave the audio on so that you can know that I'm still here, but I just don't want anyone to get any type of motion sickness from me moving this camera or the entire setup, really. I was really hoping I could use this GoPro, man. It's a 4K 60 GoPro. Come on, 4K 30, I guess. I'll figure it out. Next live stream, I'll be using the GoPro. You heard it here first. So I'm gonna move all of this over. Hopefully this doesn't cause too much mic noise. And hopefully this still looks good. Hopefully this isn't just an awful place. I'm gonna unravel this webcam cable so that I can move the webcam when I need to. Awesome, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great, you guys. All right. I appreciate your patience. And we're back. Okay, so maybe I should tilt this down a little bit. Maybe just a little bit more. I promise I'm not trying to strangle you. I'm just moving the camera. I know that felt weird, me reaching at the camera like that. I say that because I'm looking at myself do it, and I didn't like seeing me do that, so I apologize. Okay, so we've got our Brewer's Edge Mash and Boil all-in-one electric kettle. This is one of many all-in-one electric kettles that are out there. It's far from the most expensive. Actually, I think it's the most affordable. There is an option to get it with a pump. Again, I bought this used from the guy off Facebook Marketplace. It's been working great. I've been enjoying using it. They enjoyed using it. They just they haven't had much time to brew as of late. And they were moving, so they needed the space. So I get that. It's been really nice not having to just have a propane burner going off in the garage. I do leave the garage door open, you know, to make sure I'm not killing myself in here. But it is very nice not having to do the whole propane thing. I mean, I still have my propane tank and my propane burner. I did use that for part of the Imperial Stout video that you should probably be seeing soon. I just need to edit it, of course. But once that goes up, you'll see me use both the mash and brew, the mash and boil, and my typical setup, because I was brewing 2 beers. Anyway, this has been great. It's been really nice to have just the 1 vessel opposed to the 3, and being able to step away from it is really nice too. I can just go, you know, run to the restroom, go pet the dog. I can just, you know, stay inside if I needed to, but I usually stay out here with it to brew any boilovers or anything like that. Speaking of boilovers, we're boiling right now. I set this up so I can grab this, and you can kind of see what's going on in there. So it's boiling. I apologize for the lack of light or the lack of clarity, but this is kind of what I meant by it doesn't always get inside the hop spider. You can kind of tell that it's not boiling in there. It may be hot, but it's not boiling in there for whatever reason. So, but I'm gonna try to move the hop spider so that it does indeed boil. Okay, so I think that's doing it. Now I'm gonna add my first round of hops. 0.75 ounces of Mount Hood. I'm gonna grab you again. I'm so sorry that this is awful. 0.75 ounces of Mount Hood in. Our 1 hour boil starts now. It would be nice if I could if I knew how to use Streamlabs, I could set a timer on here so we could all be on the same page. I've tried doing that, but it doesn't, I don't know. These things aren't idiot proof. I mentioned that earlier. Everything should just be idiot proof. You should just be able to, it should just work. I shouldn't have to think, come on. So I've got that going. That should be able to, that's just gonna be going for an hour. Right now it is 3:30, so let's call it right now at 3:30. 1 hour boil. I'm turning off the heat at 4:30. I do need to add my other round of hops. The 0.25, where's the recipe? So with 15 minutes remaining, I need to add that remaining amount of hops. So in 45 minutes, I'm gonna mute no, I'm just gonna alarm timer 45 minutes from now. Cancel. Wow, can you just stop your car already? Whew. At 4:15 p.m. save. All right, so we've got our 45-minute timer set. When it comes to timers and stuff like that, amongst brewers, for whatever reason, it's not exactly how you would expect. So the 1 hour boil, they tell you to put it in with 15 minutes remaining, opposed to 45 minutes into the boil. I don't know why, and they also, and that translates over to hop schedules as well, as far as dry hopping. So the New England IPA I've got fermenting in the closet now. I need to dry hop before I go to bed tonight. The recipe says 5 days of dry hopping, which means it needs to stay in there for 5 days. So it does make sense, but how many days in do I need to? So like I mean, of course for this, I know that you want to add, for something like this, you want to add it during active fermentation. So that's right around now. That there's going to be like an inch thick of what's called krausen, just foam and yeast, all of it like built up at the top. You can, by pitching your hops at that time, there's something called biotransformation or something weird going on. It's only possible in New England IPAs. I don't remember the specifics, but for 5 days, and I've known that, but it's just weird that they do that. 5 minutes left. I don't know. I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. I don't know. So that's boiling. We'll be able to add our hops shortly. I should do like another gravity reading. I don't think adding the hops is gonna have changed very much. I didn't get a boil gravity reading. I got a pre-boil. I guess the final was, probably where it's gonna hover. It's gonna continue going up until probably until we're done, until it's chilled, right before we add our yeast. So I'm gonna let that keep going. I'm gonna check on the hop spider because I didn't move it. I'm hoping that in its new spot, it should continue, like with the boil, it should be a hotter spot. Gonna check the streams real quick. So that looks good. Cool, both look good. They're a little foggy, but that's all right, I guess. Whatever. Hey, things are foggy sometimes. Okay. So yeah, there's a bit of motion in the hop spider. This is not a crazy. It's a pretty vigorous boil. I would expect maybe about a gallon lost to boil out, which should put us at about four and some change gallons. Yeah, that's gonna go great. That's gonna go great. All we gotta do is add our hops. We're almost done. We're about halfway done with brew day today. Is there anything to write down? I think I wrote down the gravity already. I don't even know what it is now. I need another table. I need a bigger one. Okay, so 1044 was the final pre-boil gravity. Let me know if the music is too loud. I may be able to turn it up more if it's not loud enough. But if something is wrong, please let me know. Because again, I'm working on a laptop that's connected to a desktop that's streaming this right now. So there's a delay on a delay. So I don't really know. I don't know exactly if what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing. So yeah, there's not really much to jot down right now. I considered writing down the recipe and the hops and stuff, so just for it to be in one place. I do keep every single recipe that I'd work with. So I figured that wouldn't be necessary. If I need to know the recipe, I can look at the beer name, what it was, and find the recipe. I'll have it. So I'm not worried about that. I did at one point start writing in my hop additions, but I stopped doing that too because I usually just follow the recipe. At least in that regard, there are things that I do not follow. The temp, the mash temp, the volume, I usually tweak on my own. But the hop schedule, I'll usually abide by that. They're usually pretty good about the hop schedule. Generally, the hop schedule goes as bittering hops as your first round. There's usually 3, maybe 4 rounds of hops at 15-minute marks throughout your boil. At the top of your boil with 60 minutes remaining, the hops that boil the longest usually become bitter. The flavor that is in it gets boiled out usually. So the flavor that you get is just bitterness generally. A type of bitterness or smokiness, herbalness, or whatever. And then of course, the less time it spends boiling, the more of the flavors that are in the hop get accentuated. So for the New England IPA that I just brewed yesterday, I didn't actually add any hops during the boil. Usually you're working with an hour boil. That was a 30-minute boil because I didn't need it to boil that long. 30-minute boil with none in the boil. All of my hops got added below 190 degrees. I set up a whirlpool, which had work coming out of the spigot here into a pump, into a whirlpool arm, which just sits at the bottom of this and pushes in a direction, which creates a whirlpool. Alternatively, you can just stir it and continue stirring it for like 15 minutes and add your hops at that point. Really, it's a matter of adding them with the motion. Again, at doing that at those low temperatures, really bring out the flavors for a beer like New England IPA. Flavor is everything. All those juicy, citrusy flavors, you want all of that. So the hop schedule I do usually follow, but mostly because really I just know that the longer it's in there, it's going to bitter. You don't want to put... Each hop has where it works best. You can put anything in any hop in any beer, but some just are better for other beers, put simply. So, and since I'm not making my own recipes, I'm not picking the hop anyway, so I at least trust them with that. I'll do the temperature and the timing on my own. That was a weird sound. So let's see, it's still hovering around 211. As long as it's boiling, that's fine. And it is. I do see a little bit of motion in the hop spider, which is fantastic, which tells me that it is getting hot in there. Whew, I can't see now. It sounds like the grain basket has stopped dripping, which is a great time to empty it, bag it up, and put it amongst the other set of grains that I have so that I can give that to Wyatt on Tuesday when we have dinner. I should bag it first. Bagging it, I take a trash bag and an HEB bag. I put the trash bag in the HEB bag. Put the trash bag that's inside the HEB bag, I put that inside a trash can just for stability, and then I dump it all into the trash bag. The HEB bag is there to catch any liquid that may come out of the bag. The trash bag, of course, is to keep it all together. And then I give that to Wyatt, and he's able to give it to his chickens, and it works great. So let me go grab a trash bag and an HEB bag, and I'll be right back. I think that's all I need. And some chapstick. I'm gonna put up the intermission, but I'll keep the music playing. I'll be right back. Alrighty, thank you for your patience. So I've got a couple bags here. I've already got a trash can over here specifically for this. I have dogs out here now, and I would apologize if I just get up and walk away because they start doing things that dogs do. Wow, there are more bees in here now. This would be weird if I was scared of bees. Okay, so I'm gonna put my trash bag in the HEB bag, both those bags into the trash can, and go from there. Really, I just scoop, or if I can, I will just push, or drop all the grains into the bag. It doesn't always work that way. Dogs. Come here. Stop her. I usually have a bed in the garage for them so that they can come in here and, not have to worry about laying on the floor, or they at least have like a designated place they can be. But that is not out right now. Okay, I'm just gonna grab this and start to dump it in the. I don't know how much of this you can see. It's not terribly entertaining, but I'm just trying to make sure I get as much grain into the trash bag as possible. It is still like a sugary mixture, so like that's where the bees are coming from, and I don't want them just in our garage all the time. Get back in here, please. Come on. Dogs, am I right? Wow, these bees are just all over here now. I should probably close the garage door. Come on, get in here. Come on. I'm gonna mute the stream just for a second so that I can close the garage door without that loud garage door noise. One sec. There we go. So that's about the best I can do there. Thanks for joining in, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the support and the interaction. Gives me something to do during brew day. One way or another, I'm probably brewing anyway, so it's nice to be able to do this and speak to people, maybe like-minded people that may brew themselves or find it entertaining, or just friends and family that like to pop in. Always good to have you. I'm gonna check the stream real quick just to make sure it still sounds okay. I'm gonna apologize if it does an audio thing. The interaction, gives me something to do during brew day. One way or another. Okay, I'm gonna assume that it's okay. But I will turn the music down just a little bit because I think it's playing through the stream as well. Ravioli, what are you doing? Okay. So we're still waiting on the boil. I do need to figure out the grains. The grains are in the bag, so that's fine. I can worry about that later. Eventually I need to clean this grain basket, but this is okay for now. I guess we're just waiting on the hops to come to the next hop edition, really. Oh, did I leave my drink in there? Oh, I guess I did. That's okay. Let's see. So we're still at a nice boil. Not a strong boil, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Whew. I think there's a delivery truck outside. There's a superhero out there. Because delivery people are the real heroes. Let's see. Okay, so where's my book? Actually, yeah, this is why I need the bigger table. So for the next beers, I haven't really put very much thought into it. I guess this wouldn't be a bad time if I did this regularly. This wouldn't be a bad time to write recipes either. That'd be something that I think would be interesting on stream. Building recipes really just requires. Well, really doesn't require anything. It really just requires access to be able to buy the grains. Everything else will come with it. I'm familiar with some grains, some types of grains. I have a general understanding of recipe building. Ravioli. Ravi. Dogs, am I right? Ravi. Where'd my music go? I forgot about the delay, so I turned it up and it was just a little too loud there. But I do know just enough to be able to build recipes. The reason I haven't is mostly out of convenience. My local homebrew store has dozens of recipes that I can just add to cart and go pick up, which is super nice. I take advantage of that convenience when I can. And if there's a thing that I want to add to the recipe, I'll just do that. I mean, if I want to add a different type of grain or a different type of hop, I will and have done that. That was the drippings from the grain basket. That threw the temperature off a little bit. It's not boiling anymore, which is fine. We'll get back to it longer. Wow, that dropped at 4 degrees. Just a few ounces of like what was then, like 60 degree water, 70 degree water, or more. That's fine. It's gonna get back to a boil. That's whatever. But now wouldn't be a bad time to write recipes. I watched videos and done research on base malts, and I have looked at the Beer Judge Certification Program guidelines of what certain styles you can expect, or what you can expect from certain styles. Ravioli. So this wouldn't be a bad time to try doing that. I could give it a shot. It's just a matter, but I would need to confirm that my local homebrew store has it. I've built recipes in the past. I've built a triple IPA recipe just to see if it was, just one, I just wanted to see what it would look like, making like a 10%, 90 IBU beer. It would need some type of like super strong malt backbone to carry out the to carry that amount of hops. Looking at 8 or 9 ounces of just, I won't say bittering hops, but like mostly bittering hops. Ravioli, you're throwing a little too far there, bud. Ravi. Wow, the dog is gone forever. But this wouldn't be a bad time to do it. I could give it a shot. Get back in here, man. Come here. I should just close the garage door all the way. Okay. So, I can write recipes. I've written the triple IPA one. I kind of tweaked the New England IPA, the one that I brewed yesterday. I did tweak that a bit. I added more hops to the recipe. I really just took advantage of the pre-built grain bill and hop selection, and added 3 more ounces of Citra hops, I think. It was a Citra Amarillo New England IPA. Both those hops are very citrusy, very fruit forward, tropical, pineapple, guava, just lots of tropical citrus flavor. And it was 5 added into the boil. I'm sorry, not the boil, but as a whirlpool, 5 ounces out of whirlpool. And I've got 3 ounces to dry hop. Probably after I'm done brewing with Brew Day, I'm probably just gonna go sanitize the grain bag, pour the hops in it, and put some type of weight in it to bring it down to make sure it can fall. I don't want it just sitting at the top. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do something to that effect. Hopefully it goes well. But yeah, we'd be looking at like 8 ounces of hops in this beer. Which is almost the same amount that's in my triple IPA. The triple IPA just isn't going to have the same fruit hops. It may have like a couple like similar ones, but it's going to have a strong bitterness to it. Just as being a triple IPA, I could try like a double New England IPA or an Imperial NE IPA. Wow, so many letters. But I could try something like an Imperial Hazy that might be like a 9 or 10% fruit forward beer that's not going to be bitter, but going to be just big and bold, just juicy as hell. That's what I would think. I thought about it. I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea. I would need to get the whole stream thing together. How much is left on my timer? Like 20 minutes? Yeah. No, just stay up here, dude. Okay. So this it's boiling now, I can hear it. So that's probably still good. Let's see. This beer journal was a gift. It was a parting gift from when I was leaving my last job. I was a field tech for a small IT company here in Austin. One of our clients saw this at a bookstore, and it was like my last week, and she was like, hey, this would be a good, he would like this. And I do. It's awesome. I didn't use it at first. It's really about rating beer and documenting the beer itself. I've essentially repurposed it so that I can fill in all the same information, but with the beers that I brewed. With regards to would I order this again, I don't really fill that out. But it's got a rating system. You can write the name, where it was brewed, the alcohol percentage, the color, and any notes. The notes is what I'm actually using it for. So there are different portions of this. List your favorite craft beers. This probably wouldn't be a bad place to write out the recipes, because these pages come in portions. So there's maybe 5 or 10 of these pages, and then back to the notes pages, and then like 5 pages talking about beer labels, and then like 5 words talking about like, hey, like, what's your favorite beer? Place a photo of your favorite beer label here. So I mean, there's lots of cool things, and this has been very helpful in helping me write things out, just getting stuff on paper. Yeah, this probably would not be I could definitely write out some recipes in this too, and just kind of use it for that as well, dual purpose. The only thing I probably won't use is the space for beer labels. Unless I get, I mean, I guess I do get stickers. I could put the, wow, genius. I can just put the stickers of the breweries that I go to. I go to breweries every now and then. Haven't been in recently. Tried to go while we were in Houston last weekend. Haven't gotten to any locally recently. But I try to get stickers and stuff like that, shirts, glasses when I go, just so that I can show them off in videos. But I think I could, yeah, I've been wondering, I've been considering putting the stickers on the Keezer, but we wrapped the Keezer recently. So it looks completely different now. It doesn't even look like a fridge anymore. I mean, it looks like a fridge, but it's wrapped. It's got like a nice black leather sticker, essentially, that's on it. And that's been very nice to have. It looks great. It's inside now, so that should tell you how good it looks. We've got about 15 minutes left until we add our final addition of hops. So that is that's going really, really well so far. I do need to find the, I guess I should probably try to find the puree, because I'm going to need to make that puree. What did you just eat, dude? Stop it. Don't eat that. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. That looks like glass. It's probably not glass. Wait, maybe it is. What is this? What broke in here? Did I break something? Probably. Weird. Alright. So this is still going. This is going boiling nice. I haven't lost much of the volume yet. I haven't lost much of the volume yet, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's still hovering around that 4 gallons. I guess once it's done, we'll see. It's a little hard to tell with how much it's moving right now. But 4.5 gallons, but yeah, that's, I've written out what I need to. I don't need to do a gravity check yet. I do need to start cleaning the fermenter, because in 15 minutes, once it's done, I gotta get it chilled. And once it's chilled, I will need to put it in the fermenter, where it will live for like a week. I'm hoping that this beer will be done. Ravioli, come here. I'm hoping this beer will be done in about a week. The yeast that I have should be able to take care of this, and it's not a crazy strong beer either, so there's not going to be much sugar in it in the first place. So I'm really hoping that this goes well and it will go fast. Ravioli. Stop going out there. Hopefully there's still enough light in here, and it's not too echoey now. If it is, let me know. But we were able to get that done. Everything's looking good, almost surprisingly so. Sorry, I was like reading over the notes from my Imperial Red Ale. When I mentioned I had learned a little bit about mash temperatures, I knew that around 160 degrees that you still got fermentable sugars. I didn't realize that the chain of that sugar, that the yeast couldn't ferment all of the chain of sugar. So it would essentially ferment most of that chain. And if there's a lot of those chains, there's going to be a lot of sugar left over. Residual sugar will result in a fuller bodied, thicker beer, a sweeter beer, but it also means you don't get to ferment out as much as you should have. For instance, I mashed in at 160 degrees, which is way too high. Not too high, but at 160 degrees, the those sugar chains, those strings of sugar that gets produced, the yeast just couldn't ferment all of it away. So I had an original gravity of 1083, which would generally result in like a 7-8% beer. This one, it hadn't finished fermenting all of that. So since it was, since there was so much of that sugar left, I wasn't able to turn all of it into alcohol, which left me with what should have been like an 8% beer to what was a 5.7% beer. It still tasted fine. It tasted fine, and it worked. But it was not the Imperial Irish Red that I was expecting. It was just the regular old red ale, but it was thick and sweet and malty. It was supposed to have a little bit of grassiness, a little bit of spiciness, but yeah, it just turned out to be like it felt like a stout, but was malty and sweet from all that sugar. There wasn't much hops. There was an ounce of Challenger hops, and those an ounce of Challenger and an ounce of Willamette. Willamette is a pretty standard flavoring hop, but it just didn't turn out great. Mostly just because it was supposed to be 8%. I feel like if it did, if I was able to ferment those sugars, it would have been exactly what I wanted. It wouldn't have been that sweet. It would have been a little spicy, a little herbal. But hey, that's the beauty of homebrew. Things don't always, go the way you want it to, but hey, it still makes a beer. Okay, so 6.5 gallons at 152 for an hour, a finishing pre-boil gravity of 1044. We added our 0.75 ounces at the top of the boil. Here in about 12 minutes, we'll be adding our second round of hops, which is just the remaining 0.25 ounces. Once we do that, it's just going to be chilling the beer, chilling the wort to pitchable temps, and then putting it in a fermenter. I would like to use the other clear fermenter that I have. I have a glass carboy that's 6 gallons, but it's got about 3 or 4 gallons of the New England IPA in it. And the other one that I have, I think, is only 3 gallons. So I don't think it would work with 4 gallons if I'm fitting 4 gallons in the fermenter. So I may not be able to use that. So I may have to use one of the buckets, which is fine. I just really like the clear ones. You can see what's going on. It's super cool. So I should probably do that. I've already got sanitizer made, did that earlier. I could probably just use that bucket, honestly, the one that's got the sanitizer in it. That's not a bad idea at all. That was the grain basket bucket. So I've got my sanitizer here. I do need to fill up some containers. I do like to keep as much sanitizer on hand as I can. Had I not ruined my sanitizer yesterday, I wouldn't have to do this, but I ruined it. I accidentally I was putting something in it that needed to be sanitized, but I didn't open the valve, or I guess I didn't close the valve. So when I put it in there, beer just went right into the sanitizer. So I had no more sanitizer. I guess I'll have to pour it. I should probably put some time into the live stream as far as making it better for the viewer. Better themes and cards and such. No, Ravi, this is sanitizer. Don't stop. No. You knocked over my water, Ravi. Wow, dogs are jerks. So that's probably enough in this container. I should be able to probably get the whirlpool arm ready. There's 15 minutes left in the boil, almost 15 minutes left in the boil. So I should get, yeah, the chiller, should get all that stuff hooked up. Okay, okay. I can do that. Don't do that, stop it. Okay, so we have 9 minutes. But this is going to be my fermenter, so it's going to make sure the walls are coated with the sanitizer. Alrighty, so thanks again for those that are with me. Thank you for tuning in to what used to be my normal Brew Day live stream. I did take a break from the live streaming just to try to focus on the channel a little bit more, get familiar with my tools and how I should brew my beer. It was really hard to learn how to brew and like learn how to live stream. I'm getting the brewing thing down. I still make mistakes and that's gonna happen. But I'm minimizing the predictable ones. Like I'm able to have a normal brew day now, which is nice. Alright, this is alright, so I'm gonna keep doing this. It looks like the streams are still going. I can't tell that they're not, so that's good. Alright, so I'm going to leave the sanitizer in here until the time comes. I should just be able to... What I'll probably do is I'll probably just pick up the kettle and put it on the table behind me, just so that I can have more height, and then pour it right into the bucket from there. I could just put it up on that thing, which I may do. It's a little bit, it's not as stable. It is higher, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. We got about 6 minutes on that. I still need to get some sanitizer in here. Homebrew pro tip, again, keep sanitizer, get a spray bottle. I'm able to just spray sanitizer wherever I need to. If I'm filling up a bottle on the go, I can just get some sanitizer in there real quick. It's very, very helpful, and I recommend anyone that's homebrewing, I recommend you do it. Trying to science the sanitizer into the, yeah, I was able to physics it in there. Awesome. So I got the sanitizer here, I got some there. Okay. What's up? Hope everyone is enjoying themselves, is safe and healthy out there, especially during these trying times. These drinks smell good. You can also, the spent grains, you can also make dog treats out of them. We've done that once here. Made quite a bit. We're considering doing it again, but we were just given a big old bag of treats recently. So we didn't need to make any, but yeah, you can use the grains to make dog treats. And again, in my case, I give them to my buddy Wyatt so he can feed his chickens. But they are ravioli. Don't drink the water that you spilled. But you can use them so long as no hops got to the grains. Hops are not good for dogs. So as long as there's no contact with the hops, they are good to go. Why are the dogs doing this? All right, quick live stream check. Apologies. Okay. All right, awesome, cool. So this is all coming along nice. I got 4 minutes left on this part of the boil. I should probably get my chiller in it soon. I need to get, I do have a pre-chiller now, which is essentially just a chiller hooked up to my other chiller. The water goes into the pre-chiller. The pre-chiller is going to be sitting in my mash tun with a bunch of water and ice, and the second chiller goes into the kettle, and that's what's actually going to get chilled. So the cold water goes through the chiller, thus kind of speeding up the process. So I'm going to go ahead and get my chiller inside. I'm going to start getting things ready for cleanup because we are at the tail end of brew day. So now, I'm already got my chillers out, so I'm just going to put one in. All right. Alright, so the temperatures got thrown off a little bit by putting the chiller in there, as well as removing the hop spider, so that should bring it back up. It's at 208 now, so we should be able to get back to a boil here shortly. By the time it does, we should be able to add our hops in, so that's cool. I'm going to open the garage just a little bit. I mean, the dogs aren't in here now, so I can open it up some more and get the chiller ready. First, I should probably get my. I'll do. How about this? I will put, rather than using the mash tun, because that seems like a lot right now, I'm just going to put it in a bucket, put my chiller in this bucket, and just do the same thing. But rather than have it going into the big old mash tun, I'll just have it going into this bucket. For whatever reason, that seems like a good idea. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. There we go. Alrighty, so it is time to add that last round of hops. So I'm just going to take my 0.25 ounces, toss them into the hop spider, and just like that. I could set up the whirlpool. I probably should. I think I'm going to. I will. Since it's at boil, since the water or the wort is already boiling, I don't have too much to worry about as far as bacteria. The bacteria isn't going to be able to survive at that temperature. So we should be good there. I do have a pump. I'm going to plug this into the pump. This is going to go from the spigot through the pump back up. and into the whirlpool arm that I just have to put together real quick. Okay, one side is on. Where's the whirlpool arm? I'm just trying to orient this properly so that it will actually whirlpool. The last time I tried this, it did not work all that well. It still went, but it didn't create a full-on whirlpool. So I'm going to try this again. I'm just going to orient it a little bit differently this time. Okay. One of the little handles came out. That's entirely needed to essentially close the pump. Great. Apologies that this is happening off stream right now. Okay. Cool. Fixed it. For now, at least. Okay. So I can't, this pump does have to be primed, which means it has to be full of liquid before you can turn it on. Which is not a huge deal, so I can't plug it in yet. Okay, so that's on. I should be able to open the spigot, open these valves. On, open. Okay, so that one's already open. Awesome. So if all of this is correct, I should be good to open the spigot here. I should be able to open the spigot, where it should come out through the pump that you cannot see, and all the way back up into this whirlpool arm. On the bottom, it's got the wort will shoot back out from the top, back out along the side of the kettle, which will then create a whirlpool. I'm going to open the garage, I guess I need to open this first. Here we go, just one more. Okay, so the pump is filling. Everything looks good. It almost made it all the way back up just based on how fast it filled that pump. I'm going to plug it in now. I'm going to apologize for the noise. So I have a successful whirlpool right now. Water's coming out, back through, and into this whirlpool arm. If I could, I'd show you. Yeah, I don't have a way to show it, unfortunately. That should be fine, just like that. Now up in the garage and get ready for the chilling. Please, the leaves are back. Okay, so once that's good, I'm going to need these jugs here so that I can put, the water that comes through the hose is going to go through the first pump, through the first chiller, all the way through the second chiller, and then out of this tube here. And I'm just going to use that I'm just going to put it into, the empty jugs that we have accumulated. But I'm not going to turn it on just yet. I'm just getting everything in place. I am going to need water and ice things from inside, so I'll be right back. Again, I apologize for the noise. Hopefully the music is helping. Hopefully it's not making things worse. This whirlpool is not working yet. Hey, this is working now. I mean, at first I think it was just pushing into the hop spider, which was just dispersing it, and it wasn't actually creating the whirlpool. Now it is. The reason that it's important, usually you can use this to take advantage. You can use the whirlpool for hot flavoring and things like that. I'm actually using it for temperature control. We've already got the temp down to 208 just by staying there, with the constant motion. I'm hoping that with it, with the wort circulating and with the chiller, it should cool down pretty quickly. I'm hoping. We'll see. Luckily, we do have the a temperature gauge on the front, so we're able to keep an eye on it. So that's good. I've got the hoses hooked up. I've got the hose hooked up to the chiller. I just need to put water in it and then the ice pack, so we should be good to go. I don't have any. I think I've got one more jug of water out here. Two more. Okay, cool. I've got one up there. Gotta keep water on hand. I'm just gonna put a couple gallons here just to cover the chiller, and then put a bunch of ice to try to keep that temperature as cold as possible, which will then chill the water as it goes through the first chiller. I'm sorry, this chiller, the real chiller. Hopefully nothing falls and breaks while I leave. What am I even getting? I need ice. Okay, I should probably put water in this first. I don't have an easy way to get that one, so I'm just going to grab this. So I'm just going to put a couple gallons of water in this bucket, and then get some ice to help bring that temp down. By then, uh-oh, what's happening? It's stuck. It is stuck somewhere. No, don't know where. It's stuck in the pump. I may need to turn it off. I don't think it's going again. It is not currently going. It shouldn't have gotten stuck. I can see that there's still movement. I'm thinking it might be the pump, so maybe turn it off. So we can get that sorted out, because there's probably a quarter gallon of beer in the hoses as well as the pump that's just going with nothing flowing through it right now. That is bad for the motor. Here's my kettle. Okay. I have to turn the pump off. Nothing should flow. It's going to go somewhere, so I guess I need to get this ready. Turn that off. That is oil and water. Wort. There we go. Okay, so I got that off. Apologize for the noise. I now need to take this off. I'm going to get my gloves on, my heat-resistant gloves, and grab the pump. It's going to be pretty hot because that, engine was just going, the motor was just going. So I'm going to grab it. I've got my hoses here in this kettle, and I'm just going to drain it. I think something might have gotten stuck on the motor. Yeah, I can see that there's, I'm guessing just sugar or something. I don't really know. Maybe some grains that fell out of the basket. I do think it's empty now. I may need to test it later of just, running some more water through it or something to make sure it's clear. I'm just going to set these down for now. I don't need to use that anymore. I can just put that back. Like a couple liters, maybe a liter of wort. Okay, that's water, so clean my hands here. Okay. So we've got all our hops in. I did try the Whirlpool. That didn't go too well. It worked for a little bit, but it's boiling again, so I'm just going to turn it off because we just finished our boil. What a time for it to stop working. I could try it again. I guess I could try it again. I just touched the part of that, which wasn't great. I could try it again. I'm not sure if it's empty or not. I could try it again though. I don't know if I want to. Okay, so I'm just gonna go turn the water hose on. That would send water through these, filling up our thingy. I still need to put water in there and ice. Wow, how have I done that? I apologize for the noise. Okay. Now to go get the ice packs. So I've got some ice packs in my hand. These I'm just reusing from when Alicia and I had HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal service that you were able to select recipes and meals online on your phone, and they send the ingredients to your house, and you just got to cook it. That's great. It was great. It can get pricey though, so we stopped using it. But I do when they send the ingredients, you know, it's meat and veggies and stuff like that. So they provide ice packs to keep them cool on the way to your house. I just grabbed them, put them back in the freezer. I'm not going to throw those away. What are you talking about? Okay. So I'm going to go turn the chiller on. We are now at the tail end of brew day. Now it's just a matter of chilling it and pitching it. We've already got our fermenter ready. I've got an airlock. I just need to put some sanitizer in it. And then I do need to get the yeast out though. Wow, I did this again. Come on, Ravi. Actually, I'm gonna turn the water on first. Hey, chill. Alright, we're going inside. Let's go. For yeast, I chose Omega Yeast Voss Kveik. So this is some crazy yeast. Voss Kveik. It's Norwegian farmhouse yeast that has that was discovered not long ago, a few years ago. This yeast is a powerhouse above 100 degrees or above 90 degrees. I should be able to just chill it to like 90, 95 and then pitch it. It will slowly decrease in temp, but I'm going to take advantage of those high temps at first and the shorter chilling time because it can take a while to get from 90 to 60. So I'm going to turn the hose on, chill it down to like 95 and then just transfer it. I mean, it'll be hot, but whatever. The bucket can take it. So I'm not tripping over that. Again, it's just those higher temps, it's probably going to take several hours to get to room temp. So I'm going to take advantage of that heat. It should, engage within, I should see action in the airlock probably 30 minutes, maybe an hour after pitching it. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. That's just_brewing. If you want to watch this come to life, I will probably be putting clips of this into the video. So definitely be on the lookout for that as well. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Time to get chilling. Time to chill. I'm just going to put this on the social medias real quick. Okay. All right. So this yeast should kick this beer's ass. This should work out great. This should give us some pretty good citrusy flavor just off of the yeast itself, as well as the hop. It's gonna accentuate the flavor of the hop a little bit. I'm hoping it's also gonna accentuate the strawberry and kiwi flavors as well that we're gonna add tomorrow. So I'm gonna set this like next to I'm gonna put this like under the jacket or something. I do want this to get nice and warm. I just got this out of the fridge. I just got it out of the fridge, so it's still nice and cold. I need it to get to room temp before I pitch it. I did smack the pack, but in case... Oh, I should not have done that. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I did not think that through. It's a smack pack, so you're supposed to smack it. But I didn't think about the mic. That's right there. Good, nice. Wow, it's already at 120, so this is going crazy fast. I imagine it's probably because of the pre-chiller. It's just a bucket with like a couple gallons of water in it and then 2 absolutely frozen ice packs. So the water in there is probably a good 40, 50 degrees, which is about 20 degrees lower than our tap water, the faucet water. So that's really helping. Wow, there's quite a bit of protein here. It's kind of it's a little bit darker than I was expecting now. Should still be fine. I don't see that anything's necessarily wrong with it. So this is some of the downsides of the hop spider. A lot of the hops, I mean, it's only 1 ounce, so it's not all that much hops, but it's all kind of coagulated here and kind of just bunched up at the bottom of the spider here. So it's making it hard to drain. I'm just gonna let this drain for now. I'm gonna have to put this water hose. Okay. Right into the next jug. So we've already filled 1 5-gallon jug of chilled water, so that's just gonna get used for the next brew. I'm gonna keep letting this drain. Okay, yeah, there's quite a bit. Let's tilt it up a little. I'm gonna tilt it so that the liquid that's inside can kind of fall through the filter. Mash paddle. Slosh it up a little bit here. Get the liquid out. I would prefer the beer and the wort in here over the hops. I am kind of pushing some of it out through the filter, through the strainer a little bit, but that's kind of okay. I'm okay with that, only because I can filter it, I can strain it again before it gets into the fermenter. I wish I had an easy way to let this sit. I could probably do it last time and use the grain basket, but I don't want to do that right now. I'm probably just going to put this in that bucket of water that I have and just deal with that later. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Because this is all ready to temp. So I'm going to turn off the chiller. Okay, I just pulled that out and made a big mess. Okay, I'm gonna go turn off the water hose. Wow, from boiling to 90 in probably 20 minutes, maybe 15. I don't even know. But this is ready to go into the fermenter. I should get a strain bag. I need to lift this up and get, okay, 2 things to do. It's gonna move all of that. Okay. I can just move this. Actually, I'll move this whole thing. So now's the time to sanitize everything. Anything that comes in contact with the wort now has to be sanitized. So I'm going to get some on my hands here just to make sure that everything that touches it is going to be sanitized. I'm going to put this hydrometer back in its case, wherever that is. I don't need this second. I do need to get the chiller out of there. I can just put it on top of the chiller. I can just do that here. All right. So I will deal with that later. Now it's a matter of getting the wort out of here and into a sanitized bucket. I'm going to take one of the hoses off of the pump and use this and just have it go from, I'm going to pick this up, put it up here, and just use gravity to get it into the fermenter. I'm going to sanitize this pump first. Actually, it had boiling wort in it, so I bet it's okay. I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know if that did it, but I'm sure it's fine. So got a bucket. Hopefully this part didn't get clogged earlier from when there was all that from all the protein and stuff that's in it. That's what kind of congealed and coagulated, if you will. So I'm just going to pick this up, put it up here, and then I should be good to start the transfer. I do need to get the sanitizer out of here. I'll probably just do this then. I'm going to line it one more time just to make sure. Okay. So to ensure this is going to be a clean and filtered beer, I am going to get a grain bag, get it some sanitizer, or sanitize a strainer. Yeah, I'm going to sanitize a strainer. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to do the grain bag thing. So I've got sanitizer in this grain bag. I'm going to put the grain bag around the hose and maybe clamp it or something, I don't know. But that way the wort that goes through gets filtered first. Okay, it gets filtered first. That way it's nice and clean when it goes in. I'm going to splash it pretty high up so that I can get the bubbles and stuff from for aeration. The yeast is really going to react positively to that. Open her up. The grain bag is working. I can see it kind of clogging in some spots where some of that protein is coming out, which is fine, not a big deal. But that's exactly why we're using the grain bag. It smells super, 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 super good. Yeah, that smells fantastic. I can kind of get some type of citrus smell right now. Maybe honey sweetness. What is that? There's something citrusy and something sweet. I'm gonna dry my hands off here. I probably shouldn't necessarily need to do that, but I don't even know what my volume is. I probably should have checked, and I need to check gravity too. No honey malts or anything like that. So I don't know what sweetness that is. I don't know what that is, but I am getting some type of citrus. I guess that might be from that Mount Hood hop, which is cool. That was only 1 ounce, and I can already smell it. A quick strain check. Both look good. They're up and running. Awesome. I'm gonna find a new spot to pour this. Alrighty, we're getting to the bottom of the shell here. Alrighty, so that's gonna do it. Come on. Alrighty. Okay. That went well. So now all that's left is getting the airlock ready, pitching our yeast. The yeast isn't quite up to temp yet, but our wort is still over temp, so I think we're okay there. We should be all right to go ahead and pitch it. I'm gonna use a 3-piece airlock for this. I prefer the S airlocks, but I like this one. This should work. I'm gonna use the less diluted sanitizer for it. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit more than that. Okay, so our airlock is ready. I need to sanitize the lid. Okay. We need to sanitize this lid. I'll spray it. I hope everyone that's watching still that made it to the tail end of the stream. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for watching. We are about done right now. All I have to do is seal this up. I'm probably going to give it a good shake before I do that, just to make sure it's even more aerated. Yeast at the beginning of fermentation, yeast really likes that oxygen. It can use that kind of as a helper to get fermentation going. This yeast should kick ass. So I'm really excited to be able to use it. One more good spray. All right. So I'm going to cover her up. Put my thumb on the. That didn't do quite much. Whatever, I'm not worried about it. I just need to pitch this yeast. After I pitch the yeast, I do need to go and dry hop the other beer that I have fermenting right now. I'll probably do that while the fermentation is still active rather than toward the tail end of active fermentation. So that should be fun. If For those that are watching, once again, thanks for stopping by. This is something that I really enjoy doing, so the interaction and support is always helpful. And I very much appreciate everyone that stopped by and gave me the time out of their day. You could have been anywhere, but you were brewing with me, and I really appreciate that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what I should try next. Next live stream, I think I'm going to attempt to build a recipe while we're waiting. There's a lot of downtime, and I feel like that will give me something to do as well as ears to bounce these ideas off of, and I think that's going to help. It'll be like our beer. So I think that'll be really cool, being able to make the recipe on stream and then, provide a video for that beer saying, hey, myself in the live stream, brewed this beer. So yeast is going in against Omega Yeast Kveik. I really hope the nutrition packet didn't make its way in there. This yeast I should see action, like I said, by the time I get it, in an hour. I really hope the nutrition pack didn't make its way in there. I don't think it did. We ended up with about 4.5 gallons. Yeah, about 4.5 gallons, which is spot freaking on for what we wanted. The last thing to do now is just test the gravity. Yeah, I think the nutrition packet made its way in there, which should be fine. I mean, that's probably not a big deal. So I'm going to seal this up. Alrighty. I guess I still need to do the gravity, and I'll call it quits after that. We're approaching 340, and it was really short brew today, all things considered. Usually this is, hour 5 of me just being here. I'm gonna take this guy, get some sanitizer, make sure it's nice and clean. Grab a sample. Let's see what we're working with. Final. Oh, I guess this will be the original gravity. My guess is going to be 1050, 1048, 1050. Wow. Okay. I think it's 1048. Wow, I actually hit the gravity spot on. Sorry, this is like kind of hard to see with my glasses on. Actually, I think it might be higher than that. Let me grab another sample. I'm just going to grab another sample here. It's a little hard to tell, and usually it's pretty easy. You can usually just see exactly the line. Okay, I can definitely see it now. Second sample, 1050. Wow, I hit my guess. 1048 was what the recipe expected. If you followed their steps, I did not. I changed the strike volume, changed the strike temperature. All of that stuff changed. But just knowing what I know about these things and kind of watching the gravity build, 1050 is where we're at, which is solid. That was right where I wanted it to be. I was afraid that it was going to hover a little higher, but that is a solid. That is going to be, that's, dare I say, perfect. That's not a word I generally use, but that is about what I could not really ask for more on that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks again for sticking with me through this adventure. I hope I taught you a thing or two. I definitely learned a little bit today. Still getting familiar with my mash and boil, but once I have that honed in, I'll do a separate video just showcasing that and how it's made my brews easier or harder. Just my, the usual, just brewing opinion. Just the thoughts that I have. I have a lot of them. I feel like for some of this stuff, I feel like my thoughts are valid. I feel like, yeah, they're definitely ones that should be listened to. I already have some ideas as to what would make the next one of these better. So the original gravity, 1050, beautiful. Okay, so if that goes well, that should get us a 5% beer, 5.2 maybe, if I'm able to ferment this. Let me close this and get it put up. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned something. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Visit justbrewing.com/merch right there to check out the merch store. Again, all proceeds are donated to charity every single time, no matter what. That's always going to be the case. If there's a charity that you would like to see me, I don't want to use the word sponsor, but promote. If there's a charity that you would like to see me donate to, put it in the comments. Email me at justbrewing@gmail.com, and we'll make it happen. Thanks for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm going to leave this up just for a couple more minutes, because if I hit end, it's going to end elsewhere. It may not end one of the other streams, so I'm going to give it another like 2 minutes.